Welcome to the Highlander CEDH podcast, a show where we talk about tournament CEDH. Real quick, before we get started, my tournament Highlander 3 is happening in September 26th at the Woodside Event Center in Broadview Heights, Ohio. It's a fun competitive event where we celebrate the players by giving away booster packs each round, host feature matches for random Swiss pods so they can win secret CEDH staples from staple provider Doot Luke, and we always have great vendors and a full cafeteria on staff. Last time we had 90 players, and I'm really hoping this time we get over that 100 mark. My conversation today is with Ian Losch, a 2025 Invitational player who had a crazy run last year on Rocco Street Chef, and this year he's had a lot of success on multiple decks, including Blue Farm and Wrong Side. That's all the announcements for this episode, so without further ado, let's go. All right, what's up, Ian? How you doing, man?
What's up, dude? Good to see you again, as always.
You too.
Just another breakfast?
It's just another breakfast in the cafe and stove.
Yeah. Yeah, it's too bad we don't have Kyle here, bro. We'd have a full house.
Dude, Kyle, is he still in Europe?
I think he's at the tail end of it. If he's not back now, he's probably coming up this weekend, so.
Yeah, that man needed a vacation. But yeah. So, all right, I got a couple things I want to chat through.
Sure.
First, I want to go over, I took the Kinnan list that me and Ingatov did from last weekend and brought it to Columbus, to Titans of the Underground, which is a...
Nice.
I like Warpgate. It's on Kenny Road in Columbus. It's really cool. It was weird though. They did, we had like 31 people. So it was 4 rounds and cut to top 4, which I hate cutting to top 4. I think it's like...
It's tougher.
It's tough. And it's like, I don't know. So many people after round 2 and 3 just like quit because they're like, there's no way I'm getting in, you know?
Yeah,
so
you need
like,
2 wins and 2 draws to get in.
Basically.
At least.
Basically. Yeah, and so that was kind of tough, but it was a good event. And then in the same room, I don't know if you've been to Warpgate, they had a 2-headed giant tournament happening like in the other half of the room.
Yeah.
So it was just like packed to the gills. And I was like, what? I don't know. It was interesting. But it was a good tournament. And the reason I wanted to bring it up is I went 1, 1, and 2. So I lost the first round, drew the second round, won the third round, and then lost the finals, or the winning in, basically. But the winner, Andrew Hill, who I want to shout out, he won with Usri. So let me pull it up here.
It's blue-red, right?
I want to show everybody. Let me share my screen so I can show you this deck list. All right, so you can see the list.
Coin flipping?
Yeah, dude. So how he won, and I took a picture of the stack at the end of this game because I hung around for the finals. Brother on turn 2 goes, all right, I'm going to, use 3 attacks. He goes, I'm going to flip 5. I'm pretty sure you're always flipping 5 in this list. I mean, I'm by no means an expert, but the cards, it's a, Is It Commander? It's got flying. It says, whenever Usri Fortune's Flame attacks, choose a number between 1 and 5. You flip that many coins, and for each flip you win, you draw a card. For each flip you lose, Usri deals 2 damage to you. And then if you win 5 in a row, you can cast spells from your hand this turn without paying their mana costs.
That's gross.
Homie goes, I'm going to flip 5. He took 5 dice and he named the number, rolled 5 dice in front of everybody. All 5 of them hit. And Jake Ballingee's drawing off of a Mystic Remora. There's 2 farms and a Kinnan. Corey,
Jake was playing?
Huh?
Jake was playing?
Yeah, Jake was in the finals.
Cool. He's been judging
Corey
for the last 2 years. I haven't seen him in tournament forever.
Didn't lose a beat, man. Jake, he beat me in round 1. We can take a sidebar. Dude, in round 1, I think he put a turn 2 breach on the stack, and I was going after him, and I had exactly 4 mana with Kinnan and a Pact of Negation in my hand because we just got wheeled. So he got wheeled into this breach, by the way. The other 2 players are just staring with their jaws open, and I'm like, shit, I gotta freaking put this Pact on the stack. So I put the Pact out, and I'm like, Jake, come on, man, don't do this to me, bro. Can we just keep playing the game? Just put it back in your hand. He's like, no. And I'm like, all right, you other 2. If I do this, can we draw? And Jake goes, I won't accept a draw. And I'm like, God damn it, dude, just let me. And I was like, well, I'm going to die now. And then he ended up winning the game.
That sounds like a Jake Belangi story. I mean, the first time I ever even heard of him at a tournament or ever met him, he put a round 1, turn 1 Oracle Consult on the stack and won the game. I was like, dude, is this what it's like out here?
Yes, it is what it's like.
Anyway, back to Usri. Sorry about that. Shout out Jake.
Yeah, anyways. Jake passes into this guy with a Mystic Remora, and Andrew's just he's just such a funny guy because he's so nice and unassuming, and he He's like, I'm just playing Usuri, man. I'm just rolling dice. I'm flipping coins. And, and he rolls all of them. And he goes, holy shit, I got it. He goes, that's a 2% chance. And we were like, you better go to the casino after this, dude. So anyways, hits it. And he goes, cool. Enter the infinite on the stack. Enter the infinite, dude.
Dear Lord. Yeah, I know what that card is. That's crazy, man.
Bro.
I love that
For
you
those
can
that
sit
don't
down
know-
with Usuri and be like, come on, dude. It's just a bad card. Leave me alone. And then people will. It's like such a good political
It's
stand.
literally the background of this podcast, and that's what makes me laugh. Like, it's what I used for Highlander 2's background because I think it's just beautiful art.
Yeah.
But for those that don't know, it's a freaking 12 mana blue spell that says draw cards equal to the number of cards in your library, then put a card from your hand on top. You have no max hand size until your next turn. So you're just like, now he has his whole deck in his hand. Everything's free.
Yeah. And they're all 10-minute spells based on way this is.
It's ridiculous.
Fact,
So
this
the
is
man just rolled the ultimate high roll, in a coin flipper deck, basically.
That happened in the finals, you said?
This was in the finals.
Yeah, that's so good.
It's like turn
I'd have his
3.
dice checked, bro.
Oh, dude.
I'd have his dice checked. Make sure that there was at least like some odd numbers on there or something.
Yeah, right.
Wasn't just all even numbers. Like,
but he didn't win immediately, but basically they started fighting over that because they had a bunch of draw engines. Jake and the other farm player, I think each of them drew like 6 or 7 cards and they used all their interaction up and then drew nothing. Poor Corey, seat 4 Kinnan, Corey Hayslip. For those that don't, I think he was in the Cowtown finals. Like, he's a really good local player. He's kind of like that boomer magic guy that's like, back in my day, he's got a foil guy's cradle and he's, just the homie, as I would describe
$30
Corey.
or something. Yeah.
Huh?
He bought it for $30.
Yeah.
Because it looked cool or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. He looks like he's 32, but he has like 6 kids, That's Corey. He actually waited till the stack kind of got to a point where both farm players were not able to interact with Andrew anymore. It was pretty big. I'll link the picture here. You'll see it. You won't see it, but they'll see it. And he put a cord for exactly Consphinx mana on the stack.
Yeah.
Which, no one else is interacting. Enter the Infinite's still on the stack. Essentially, what would have happened had that cord resolved and Sphinx hits the play is he'll draw his deck before Andrew draws his deck. And then I think that's how that works, right?
No, I think Andrew would draw his whole deck.
Yeah.
Sphinx triggers would go on the stack, and then you would probably just die to Andrew.
I don't think so. I think Andrew draws his deck. Consphinx triggers to draw double.
To draw your deck all at once, and then all the Consphinx triggers will go on the stack on top of it.
And then Andrew could win on top of the Consphinx triggers.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Because he's got all free stuff, so it's like the Born Upon the Wind is going to resolve, right?
Right. Well, the funny thing, I don't think he plays Born in this list. That was the funny part about it is I think it's all sorcery speed, bro. So
I don't know what I'm doing then, bro. Oh man, sounds like this guy just rolled dice into the finals.
Dude, he doesn't run Valley Floodcaller or Born. He has to win at sorcery speed. So Corey could have won.
If your game plan is roll 5 or flip 5 coins and hit heads 5 times, why would you need Born? Right?
Honestly, that's so true. Like, if you're gonna high roll that hard, screw it. It's just so funny because Corey was like, man, I would have won. But it's okay because Andrew's last piece was a Mind Break Trap and he hit the whole stack right on top of the cord.
Is he playing Frenetic Efreet with the Tavern Scoundrel?
He is playing Tavern Scoundrel. Yep, both of them.
Yeah. I think that's kind of an underrated combo. You don't see it get played a lot. One thing that I look for, especially when I'm looking to build a deck around a combo, is are the 2 pieces the same card type? And so have you seen this combo before?
He explained it to me after because I just shook the dude's hand, and was like, oh my God, what kind of what abomination is this? And he said at one point in his set, because he won his first round and his third round, I think, and he drew a game, so that's how he got in to the finals.
Mm-hmm.
But he said at one point he had 35 treasures on turn 3 or something with this, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could make way more than that. So I have really only seen it its main home be Krark Thrasios. But like the reality of the situation is like you could definitely do it. You could play it in more spots. Essentially, it's 2 bad cards, right? And the idea is in Krark decks, the Tavern Scoundrel is like decent, but you just put an infinite amount of, you have Tavern Scoundrel out, and then you activate Frenetic Efreet holding priority like a billion times.
Oh yeah, it's a 0 mana ability you can just
So
keep
you just
doing.
flip coins, flip coins, flip coins, and they'll make you manually do it because theoretically you can lose them all, but like you just sit there and let them watch you roll dice for 5 minutes, and then you're like, all right, we got 100,000 treasures. This should be good, right?
Yeah, I guess I'll stop now.
Yeah, I mean, and the one downside with this is they can just remove the Tavern Scoundrel in response to all, like, as soon as the Frenetic Efreet like exiles itself, you just kill the Tavern Scoundrel. But like,
You know what's
I think
disgusting about this?
it's nice because it's both creatures, so you can play it in rug decks and tutor up both halves to combo really easily.
Wait, how's that work with the phase out at the back? If you win the flip, this creature phases out. So how do you stack those triggers?
So if you lose the flip, or sorry, if you win the flip and it phases out, all those or all the activations are still in the stack.
The coin flips still happen.
Yeah, exactly. So you just let them resolve.
Damn.
It's like, I don't think a lot of people know about it because like you would really only know about it if you looked at like a Krark Thras deck, because that's really the only deck that would want something like this, I guess. Is he playing Krark's Thumb?
He is, I only know he is because I literally watched it on the battlefield and was like, what is this list?
Yeah.
He's playing Krarkstorm and Wintermoon, dude. He's also playing Back to Basics.
Oh, I see. He's like a Blue Moon style deck that.
Yeah.
And that makes sense because like when a deck's based around the combat phase, I feel like the only way to take advantage of that is by getting more turns.
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? Like with Tymna, that's one of the strategies you can have with Tymna is just like kind of keep using your interaction to like force people to put their cards back in their hand instead of using it. And then you just keep on tapping and keep attacking in combat. Right. But some decks that really need it like this. So I think that's kind of cool way to do it.
Yeah, it is interesting, right? Like, oh yeah, let me toss out some stacks pieces and some rocks that make it difficult for people to win quickly. And that way, just naturally, because the game goes longer, I have more expensive spells. I need to see as many combats as possible. So the way to do that is choke mana and extend the game.
Is it playing like Ral or anything? I guess it's not.
I don't think so. It's playing Knuckles, which is
This seems
fire.
so clunky to me.
It's playing Zinder Split and Edgar, King of Figaro.
That card.
Edgar enters, draw a card for each artifact you control, and then the first time you flip one or more coins each turn, those coins come up heads, and you win those flips.
Mm-hmm.
The first time you flip one or more coins. So this with your commander, you hit you say 5 and you say heads, and you flip them all at the same time. Right? Well, one or more coins. Yeah. Because the commander does say flip that many coins.
I never would have expected a deck like that to do really well.
Do you think it did so well because people did? I never played against it. I dodged this the whole tournament. Do you think it did so well because people weren't like really didn't know what it was doing?
I think that they were probably disrespecting it. Like it looks like he's just trying to like layer kind of like these snowbally advantage pieces into play, and then once you have like a bunch of them, it's like a really proactive, resilient storm list with like a decent amount of interaction.
Yeah,
because it looks like if you notice, like there's a lot of high CMC stuff, and like the usury ability is not going to be enough to usually make that worth it. But like I don't know, maybe he just really knows how to play his deck, and there's probably some like tricks that I don't know about.
Yeah.
But I I'm not, no hate. Obviously, like this dude clearly
Planar Chaos, dude. He's running Planar Chaos. What is happening? You know?
That's crazy, dude.
Beginning of your upkeep, flip a coin. If you lose the flip, sap this enchantment. Whenever a player casts a spell, that player flips a coin. If they lose that flip, counter that spell. It's like a 1-turn stacks piece, or like, I mean, I guess you're only seeing 4 turns in a game, 5 turns maybe in a game, you know?
Yeah. No,
like counterbalance.
A lot of times I feel like you're gonna play it on like the turn 3 or 4 turn, and there's like 20 spells that you cast on that turn, like easy.
Dude, this almost is an anti-slop deck. Like piece.
You think that's why he was winning? Is he was just like crushing all the slop decks by like resolving Winter Moons? Like they're like play an engine and you're like play another card that you don't want to counter, but then they
I'm
like
constantly thinking of ways
die.
to counter the slop decks, and this is an interesting one. The only thing is this hits him too, but he doesn't give a shit, dude. He's flipping coins, you know?
Yeah.
He's
And
putting
if
coins on the stack. That's what he's doing.
he could also like, does he have ways to get through it? Like
The
if
Planar
you,
Chaos?
no, if like, cause like if you have Planar Chaos and Hexing Sculpture out, like you can just keep casting through it.
Yep. It says counter that spell. There's things that, so you have the Krark's Thumb that helps you ignore it. Yeah, I mean, he's going to be affected the least, right? He's got a bunch of effects that make him win flips, basically, from what I understand, or at least several of them.
Yeah. Seems to me like this list is just like not in a rush.
Yeah, it's chilling.
It doesn't seem like a turbo list at all. Like it
Well, what's
seems
funny
like
is all his interaction is super low CMC, and the permanence and the big piece of the progression pieces are either treasure makers, mana makers, or they're a little heavier. But it feels like what you're doing is like early turns you're surviving, you're placing some value, or like maybe a stacks piece. But I feel like you're more playing mana into the board early game, and then you're holding up your interaction so you can get your commander out, and then you're either high rolling with the commander or trying to generate like heavy mana on turns 2 and 3 into your combo pieces.
Like the time warp effects, right? Like
yeah, he's got Stitch in Time here, which when you think about it, with the things that help you win flips, is better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. He's got all these ridiculous creatures. I mean, Vivi generates mana. Knuckles generates mana right away. Basically pays for itself. PFB lets you see more cards generate mana. Kiki Jiki is interesting. I would imagine this is copying one of your combo pieces.
Mm-hmm. Or like Edgar.
Yeah. Yeah, the Ifrit is fire. Anyways, this deck is sick.
Cool.
Yeah, Andrew's cool, and I thought that was a cool thing to talk about. Our list did okay. Like I said, Jake got me early, and then the last game, the one thing I did want to close off on the tournament before we get into some stuff around you and what's going on with you, is round 4 was pretty cool. So Eric Rose won this. He's a guy I've played against a bunch of times. He plays Rogthras. He played Shang-Chi on turn 2, and then turn 3 went bananas. Like bananas. He put a Badgermole into play, and then he bestowed Springheart and Nantuko on it. Flipped Thrasios once, and then it became infinite because every time a land hit, he just paid 2 and made another hasty Badgermole that tapped for 3, 4, 5, 6 because Shang-Chi gave him all haste.
So he Badgermole his Cradle?
No. He bestowed Springheart and Nantuko onto Badgermole Cub, and then every time he Thrasios flipped into a land, he copied it and made a new Badgermole that had haste.
But
and
that is 2 Badgermoles, so they all tap for more.
Yeah, it was broken, and the weird thing that happened was me and Brandon were the only 2 that had the points to actually get into the finals. Like, we were at 6 and 7, and Eric was like, "Hey, dude, I'll scoop right now. I have the win. I'll scoop right now, let you 2 battle it out. I have a Cyclonic Rift in my hand. I'll bounce the board, and you 2 can basically play a 1v1." And John, he's another cool dude. We kept calling him a cop because he'd shaved his beard into a mustache. So we were like, "Hey, bro, you gonna let me cast a spell? You're gonna narc on me?" It's kind of funny. He also was like, "I don't have enough points. I'm gonna scoop too." And I was like, "You know what, dude?" Like, me and Brandon kind of looked at each other and we were like, It was a weird point in the game. I was just like, you won. I'm not trying to take a win from you. I'm not trying to get into the finals, through some scummy deal like kill us. You know what I mean? And I had 1 ring protection, so I could have probably scummed the deal. I could have been like, "Well, you can kill Brandon right now, but I get a turn." You know what I mean? I could have done something like that. I'm not about that life, bro. I'm like,
I'd have done it. But yeah.
You'd have done it? Oh, no! This is why you have better points than me, dude. This is it.
That's funny, dude.
I know. I probably, it was so funny, dude. You know how that game started? I played a tropical island into a gene pollinator, and Brandon went, "Cool, firestorm," and he hit my pollinator and the wrong size Rog and left everything on Rog Thras's board alive. I was like, what the hell?
Oh God. Yeah, that sounds rough. How so? Did you lose round one? You said you lost round one earlier.
Yeah, I packed
Okay.
Jake. He played the turn. It maybe was a turn 3 breach, but it was after a wheel. He wheeled into a breach and just played it. Because Caleb had to wheel us. Masson here, this dude was on the turtles. He was on the Gruul turtles, so he put a Blightsteel Colossus into play turn 2, and I had to politic him to like not kill me. I'm like, hey bro, I know I'm C1, I'm Kinnan. I don't have Kinnan out, I just got a bunch of rocks. I'm chilling. I showed him my hand. He was like, all right, Blightsteel goes at Caleb. And then Caleb had to swords it. And so he basically was behind, and so he wheeled us. And then Jake was like, sick, breach. And I'm like, okay, well, you wheeled me into a pact. And I have 4 mana, so I'm fucked. So I packed it and died. That was game 1.
Nothing wrong with that. I see you played against Tortoise, Justin. And
yeah, I destroyed them. I shouldn't say that. It was a good game. I put a Trinisphere out on turn 3.
Yeah.
Nobody had developed that much mana. And Tortoise was on Brian's elf deck. So he was not playing Rocco. He was, he wasn't playing Rocco. Josh
like mono green elf or like green white elf?
He was playing a Zuri, Renegade leader.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. He was having fun.
Just
he was having fun, but I put a Trinisphere into play and nobody could do anything. He Rex Saged it and like right before my turn, and I was like, thanks for removing my own stacks piece and win,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes it's like that.
Yeah.
I've seen it too many times.
Yeah. And poor Josh, man, missed a land drop, like 2 land drops in our game. In round 2, Josh, let me go to the rounds here real quick.
How many people were at the event? You said it wasn't too big.
31.
That's not, at least you had a tournament.
Yeah, it was cool. But poor Josh didn't even get to see turn 2 in this game. He got the same turtle deck from my round, went to his, killed him on turn before.
So what's this guy doing with polymorphing the turtles or something?
You've never seen this deck?
No.
Oh no, I gotta look up Raph and Mikey.
Oh, you're talking about the Blightsteel turtles.
Yes.
Yes. I don't know anything I'm talking about here.
So there's only like
these
guys. You know how this works?
I know enough of how it works to know that like if you cast them and attack, it's like
so I gotta read it because
right? You just like win like every time.
Yeah, it's 7 mana, 5 and hybrid red green. Trample haste, legendary mutant ninja turtle. Whenever Raph and Mikey attack, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. Put that card in the battlefield tapped and attacking, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So basically what you do is you try and get it like Raph and Mikey into a combat celebrant or something like that, a duplicate effect, or you hit him with the Blightsteel. And that's how this guy, he was new to CDH, it was super nice. And he was like, he plays like Winota and a bunch of these other like just combat matters decks, and he was like, I saw this and thought it was cool. So he just in a 3-pod, this deck is so much problem because you only have 2 people, policing this person, and if they can get Raph and Mikey out and attack, it's bad. You only got to kill 2 people then.
Is it better than Atali?
No.
Because is Atali 7 mana or 6?
It's 7, but the thing is, this is the reason I think that, by the way, and maybe I'm an idiot. I am an idiot, so maybe I'm wrong. Is this is combat matters, and it only triggers in combat, whereas Atali you can spam. I think that's the biggest thing, and it's just an ETB, right? So you can clone an Atali or, do there's a bunch of ways you can get into Atali into play, and you're playing other decks that are oftentimes better. So maybe, I don't know, dude, it would have to be a weird meta for this to be worse or better than Atali.
Well, here's what I'm thinking is like Atali, you have to feed studies, you have to feed heuristics, mystics, you have to play through like rule of laws and stuff like that. Not that there's a lot of rule laws out there, but time is like sneakily like really well positioned right now.
Time, the Luminous Enigma.
Yeah, which obviously if Time's at the table, like that's a really bad scenario for Atali because you don't want any of their cards.
Yeah.
But this is interesting. I've heard people talking about this list. I haven't run into it yet.
It was fun. I think the feeling at the table was less ominous than an Atali.
So is the idea is like the 99's a lot worse? Is that what you're like? You have to play all these bad combat things, whereas
Yes.
Atali is just clones and mana.
Yep. And Atali, you're almost. That's why I was saying it would have to be a weird meta, because to me, Atali gets worse as the meta gets weirder. You know, as people play more Raph and Mikeys,
Oh, I
Atali
see.
gets worse. But in
Yeah.
the top pod, Atali is way better because you're running into the slop decks that are running the triple Ristic copy clone effect. You know what I mean? Like all these really powerful effects. And that's when Atali really shines. Like when we saw Cam have his like run with Atali, it was always against the Grixis decks, right? Because that's what,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
And this doesn't or Atali doesn't get stopped by a spot removal piece.
Exactly. Like Atali's like, cool, you removed it. I got 8,000 more mana. I'm going to recast Atali. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, this is cool. I like the Ninja Turtle set. There's a lot of really good cards in that piece. I'm surprised the 5-color lists haven't seen like more play.
You like this card?
The 5-color commanders too. Like the Leo partner character select mechanic.
That's what Brandon was playing. He was playing the 5-color turtles. Leonardo and oh man, I'm gonna mess this up. Brandon, I'm gonna put you on blast, bro.
Splinter, Mikey, or April are really the only ones I think that would see me play.
Yeah, Michelangelo the Heart and Leonardo the Balance. Leonardo's got the colors.
Scroll down. Let me just kind of peek his list real quick. Just like kind of scroll through it slowly.
5-color good stuff. Polywog is interesting.
Cutzel's nasty.
That was so. The reason the Rogthras player got away with the Shang-Chi move is because Brandon put Cutzel into play, and then passed, and he was drawing cards, and I was like, this cannot stand. Like, I can't win through the silence, and our cop buddy literally had he flashed me a snapback, and I was like, all right, so we just have to wait through the Rogthras turn. We'll hit the snapback on the end step, and then make Brandon basically have to use his mana to recast the Cutzel before he can win, and give us a chance to counter it, right? Never got the chance. Eric just cooked us on the Rogthras with Shang-Chi. We were like, and we got lulled into waiting, you know?
I knew it. I was going to say, that's like this perfect scenario. Was Rogthras was like, don't you need that removal spell? Wait a second. You don't want to just fire it off on my value piece, right?
Exactly, dude.
Yeah.
The Shang-Chi.
We'll keep scrolling real quick. I just want to see. Okay.
Mayhem Devil.
He's like a 5-color value list.
This seems normal. Neoform's interesting. Normal. That's the culprit.
Yeah.
Morphos. This is more turbo.
Yeah, it looks very Blue Farm-esque.
Nas. I'm assuming there's a Necro down here. Yep. Ninja Pizza. Food you control have sack. Oh, because I think Leonardo makes food, or one of the two of them makes food. So they're treasures.
Mike says, yeah, whenever it attacks.
Foods are treasures, basically.
And he's got Party Dude in there, too.
That's me.
I think that card is pretty good.
When this class enters, each player creates a food token, and then you level it up for 1 in green. Level 2, whenever an artifact an opponent controls is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, draw a card.
Yeah.
That's really good.
It's Viridian Rebel, but way easier to cast and a ton of upside.
1 mana, you just got to level it up. Makes its own artifact on ETB.
See, like, what's really interesting about this card is, like, you play it, and you won't draw anything for, like, a turn or two. And then, all in one turn, you'll draw 20, 30 cards off of it. Depending on, like, you know, if you get into one of those big Smothering Tide stack battles. But, like, that's... I used to play this in Dockside meta, and it was interesting.
You're talking about Viridian Rebel?
Yeah, I would play Viridian Rebel in Dockside meta, yeah.
I want to look at this card. Okay, I actually do know this card. Yeah, okay. 1 green. Whenever an artifact is put into an opponent's graveyard from the battlefield, you may draw a card. It's literally just the power-up version of... You're just paying less to get it on the battlefield, basically.
Yeah, you could just split it up over, like, 2 turns, or however you want to do it.
That's cool. This is a hot card. Why don't more people play this? Because I feel like you're right. Smothering Tithe, all of the slop decks are running Ska right now, or Farm is basically... The way Farm is operating is on treasures.
Yeah. No, like, I don't know why nobody's running it. I think it does best in the slop style like decks, because players are gonna not really want to give you their like additional resources at sorcery speed.
Mm-hmm.
But they're much more willing to be like, all right, well, we're gonna die. I guess I'll just, I don't have anything, and then you're like, well, why don't you start cracking your treasures?
Mm-hmm. And I'll
And then
draw 50
didn't
cards.
get one. I'll show you as I draw them, and you draw 9 cards, and then finally, I found the snapback, or I found the into the flood maw or whatever like that.
Yep. And I also found my win and 4 protection pieces.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. That's a problem for later. Right?
Yeah, that's later. We're dying right now.
That's all this game is, bro. Is just people resolving spells that everybody knows is going to win them the game, but we're just going to hope that some squeeze happens in the middle of it, and
You can get
maybe
that
I'll
little
find
advantage.
the window.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about you, dude. So that was the tournament. I had a freaking blast, and thanks to everybody at Warpgate for hanging out. I wanted to talk about where you are at, where you've been. So right now, you are the top Ian.
Oh, that's cool.
And look right below you is Harambe or Ingatov, the last guest.
Yes, dude. That's so
The
good.
homie.
Well,
Are you still, so you're 130. You're 130 right now.
Yeah.
Are you still thinking crunch time, we can get there?
Yeah, so about a month ago, somebody told me, I think we were in Nashville, and somebody was like, yeah, the Invitational's in San Diego. And I was just like, yeah, I'm good. I don't really care that much. I've never really cared about these in the first place, but it is just like a slight little incentive to want to travel for events, like to go to big events. Like
Yeah.
if you're on the edge and you're thinking like, man, should I go to this diamond event or something like 2 states away? It's like, maybe make a few phone calls, and if you can hop in the back of somebody's car, like it's worth going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always just been kind of fortunate just to do well at the big tournaments. I haven't had to go to a bunch of them. This year I've done pretty mediocre at the big tournaments that I've gone to. So you kind of need to top 16 or top 4, like a diamond event, to make that jump into the next level, or just like win like 4 gold events and 4 silver events. Like that'll probably be there. But
yeah, I'm way below you guys, but most of my points were, I'm 369 now. I was, dude, 2 months ago I was like 180, and I just like I have been doing nothing. I've been playing garbage, and I kind of burn out like after misplay, which I don't know. You were at misplay, yeah, we played against not against each other, but you were there.
dude,
I crashed out hard at misplay, dude. But most of my points here, my point was most of this 480 was I got 17th at the Tabernacle. I was I bubbled out. I was the guy that bubbled out at Tabernacle.
I missed that event. I was kind of bummed out because that's just that was such a big prize pool. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Jake put on an awesome event, dude. But so you're saying you got to do well at the big events. I totally agree.
Yeah,
I think
to say I'm getting burnt out after the after misplay, you can blame that on Andy. That he, like, we all knew Rogue Thrust was solid, but like as soon as somebody cooked like a major event with it, it's like, oh my god, dude, you're
talking about Rocky Shy, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Just like the fact that now every single game that you sit down, it's like, the first tutors are all searching up Ristic Study. Like nobody's jamming. Like I would say like less than 20% of the people are jamming now.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to.
It's funny. I think the tide's turning a little bit on that. But
I agree. I agree. Like there's a lot of people showing up just like realizing they're like, I have to just push on turn 2. Cut all interaction from my list except for Pyroblasts and shove.
Literally. And I think that sucks because you can break through, but you're doing what, and it's weird how we're going to tie back into this, but you're doing what Andrew did. You're trying to high roll, right? You're trying to basically push in that little window in the early game and hope that the Raw Ishai player and the Kinnan player both didn't keep a piece, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not exactly like the best strategy, in my opinion, to like, I guess, like count on your deck to do the job for you. Um, like there's to me, like this format is actually like it's not like this mid-range control aggro spectrum. Like obviously everybody knows that it's combo the whole spectrum across, but like where do you sit on the spectrum, right? And I think we can all agree at this point that like stacks doesn't even like exist as a strategy that's like fundamentally correct. um and that's because it just gets beaten by so many things. Like first off, like if your stacks piece shuts down one player, it might do nothing to another player,
Mm-hmm.
which like that problem existing in the first place, it just means that like stacks isn't viable, period. Right? Like that's like the stage one of it. The stage two of it is that like heuristic study beats stacks.
Well, okay,
Right?
so
And
here's
like,
my point to this, Ian, is heuristic study is stacks. It's just the best stacks piece.
well,
Because
yeah,
what is
kinda.
stacks, right? Stacks is you're affecting the board negatively, and to give yourself an advantage. You know, a lot of
Right.
people think about stacks as like Trinisphere or Winter Moon or Winter Orb or all that stuff that like just generally hurts the board, and you can gain advantage through that, like excise advantage as opposed to your opponents. But heuristic study also hurts all your opponents and helps you because it's just giving you the advantage without detracting from them, which I think is the best stacks piece. Like Smother and Tithe, in my opinion, is a stacks piece.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, I see what you mean in a certain extent. The issue with that, and the reason I would have to disagree, is because one mana is worth so much more than your opponent drawing a card, right? So like in this format, and this has been talked about like a lot, is like I value me drawing a card as much as I value each of my opponents drawing a card. Right.
Mm,
So like the fairy mastermind
yeah.
feels like a 1-for-1.
Like it's even. You're like
It's
nothing.
even. Yeah. Right. Whereas like Tataru Taro feels like I'm up 0.2 or point two. What do you want to say? Like 2/3 of a card. I'm
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Right. Because like one of my opponents plus a third. Right. Like my opponents plus a third together and I plus one.
Hmm.
Right. So and that's just to talk about the draw. Obviously that card's way better because of a bunch of other reasons. It makes 5-6 permanents for one card. Like it doesn't even matter what the permanents are. Like if you can use them, they're good. But because the mana value like is of me having one mana is worth so much more than one card, and the fact that I'm only giving my opponent one card, which is like in the scheme of things like a neg 1/3 for me,
Mm.
right? And I value like there's games where like I'm sure there's a lot of games where you're like, I would discard 5 cards to get 1 mana right now.
Oh yeah, at the like when you're trying to win. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just because of the tools that we have, right? Like
Hmm.
obviously that number changes. Like if Mystic Study and Mystic Remora didn't exist, like now all of a sudden like mana and cards, like cards are more valuable if that were the case, right? Because like you don't just have to like neg one yourself off of one tutor or even demonic tutor, which isn't even a neg one,
Hmm.
to get a card that like takes you up to 20-30 cards like Necropotence or Mystic Study.
Yeah.
And like it's just obvious like, that we value the mana so much more in our format, right? So that's
Yeah.
why Dark Ritual is in every single deck, no matter what. You would rather go down a card for 3, and like you'd play 10 Dark Rituals if you could.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because the challenge with mana being more valuable than cards to me is that not all cards are created equal. So
Yeah.
drawing a Force of Will when I'm about to die, super valuable card, worth 20 cards because I'm not dying. But drawing a land in that same scenario, that card's used. It's boot terror.
Well,
You know what I mean?
you have to look at Force of Will like kind of interestingly too. Like, what is the sum of the card, right? Like, so it mechanically it reads one way, but like if you look into like what it's doing with the way that the game like was designed to be played, like countering a spell should cost mana, right? And I think we can all agree like 2 mana is like kind of a lot to counter a spell.
Mhm.
So like counter target spell though, it's probably like 1.5 mana. That's like where I want to be for counter target spell. I wouldn't
Hard
play
counter.
it for at
Hard
2,
counter
and
is
I
what we're
would
talking
play it at 1, right?
Yep.
So Force of Will is doing it for 0. So what that means is Force of Will kind of says like turn a random card or turn a blue card into your hand into a Dark Ritual.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because it gives you an effect that's worth 2 mana, which is counter target spell. But it gives you it for 0, but it costs another card. So like if you had like a Dark Ritual and like a counter spell, right? Obviously the colors don't line up, but like you lose 1 mana, go up 3 mana, so you're positive 2 mana for neg 1 card, and then you use the other card to counter the spell.
Mm-hmm.
Basically like Dark Ritual plus counter spell, if mana colors don't matter, is Force of Will. So
Yeah, I
Force
see
of
what you're
Will
saying.
comes with a Dark Ritual attached to it.
Right. I see what you're saying. You're cheating 5 mana to lose 2 cards.
Right.
That's the math you're talking about. Right.
It's another reason that Soul Ring is like so good, and cards like that, like the Moxes, are so good, is because like not only do you get to bypass the land per turn, which matters a lot, but like Soul Ring in particular, it taps for 2 cards, like for 2 cards worth of mana, right? Like you would need 2 lands to tap for 2 full colorless.
Right.
You know
and by the way, that doesn't include the land you would have played for turn, right? So you're talking about you'd need 2 more lands or whatever, I guess, on the subsequent turn that you played Soul Ring, right?
There's a billion reasons why that card's so good.
Yeah.
But one of them is that it is like actual card advantage. Like it's one card test for 2. Same with Ancient Tomb. Like it's 2 land drops in 1.
Yeah. Isn't it funny how people just innately do not respect certain cards? Like I feel like the one good thing I do have is a spidey sense for danger. So
yeah,
I like when somebody plays a Cabbage Merchant or a Tataru, you're saying it's so good. I feel like for a while I was like, it's not that good. But then you start to play against it, and as like 2 times I'll play against a Tataru deck, and a lot of times it's Farm, obviously, or a Rog Ishai. And I'm like, holy crap, he won that game because he played that Tataru on turn 2. Or turn 1.
Yeah, and it let him cast, a 3 or 4 mana spell while holding up like a tutor and counter spells.
And those cards, I almost like to think of them as like, there's also an advantage to cards like that, which is their uncounterability. No one's countering a Tataru. No one. No one's countering a Cabbage, well, maybe a Cabbage Merchant, but it's 9 times out of 10 going to resolve.
Yeah, the only time I'm countering Cabbage Merchant is if it's against a Cabbage Merchant deck.
Which you and I learned about.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that. I mean, we can, but that was my fault. I'm going to take
it was our fault, dude.
I should have countered the Flash Enabler. That was bad. I didn't expect like 7 more win conditions in his hand.
Literally, I'm going to have him on next, just so you know. So
I love that.
About it.
That's going to be fun, man. I'll watch that.
Because I was just like, you and me just go back and forth was so funny, man. So for those, because we're talking out of context, we were on a win-in last month. No, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You and me, both at 7 points each, 6 points each.
I think I had 7. Did you have? Yeah, I had 7, you had 6, but a win locks it for either of us.
Win locked it in, top 16. We would have won a good chunk of change, and the Cabbage Merchant stole the show. You and I, the Grixis players, playing basically the exact same wrong side list.
Yeah. Yeah, we used all of our interaction on each other. That was bad.
I was like, you were like, you can't have that risk. I was like, well, you can't have that counterspell. And then we were like, here you go, Cabbage Merchant. Here's the win.
Sorry about that, bro.
That's all good.
I dumpstered you and myself all at once.
Fair
though. Like,
okay, let's talk about this.
Like that, right?
I know we're gonna move down the list here, but let's talk about this. Do you feel like it? How do you feel about games where you sit down and like, for example, my round 1 of the this tournament here, I sit down and this is the pod. Me, a guy who literally just told me it's his 2nd tournament ever, a homie Caleb, and then Jake Ballangy in C4, a guy who's a known, like, people copy his Blue Farm list. He's that good.
Yeah.
How do you feel about those games where it's essentially, that there's one really good player, like the second pod here? Andrew, TJ, didn't know him, great players. Isaac going before me. NV player, finalist, and then top 16 NV2, sitting right before me, Blue Farm. How do you handle those games? Because I struggle with those games heavily. I feel like I do what you and I did, which is I turn it into a 1v1, and then half the time, players 3 and 4 clean up the game because I put way too much attention on good player sitting across from me.
Yeah, so I think that that's like a natural kind of like progression of how those games are going to shake out. Like, it would be really nice for me to like have like an answer as far as like, no, you just need to properly assess all of your opponents, right? It's like, I don't know these guys. I've never seen them before.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to respect the guy that you know is good, right? Like, you're not going to let Isaac resolve a Necropotence because he's going to kill you 30% more than the next guy who resolves a Necropotence, right? Because he's like smart at sequencing and he knows his deck really well and stuff like that. Whereas like you might let the guy who it's his first time, oh, this is my first tournament. Yeah, dude, you can resolve that Necropotence. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to fumble the bag because you don't realize like just how deep the repercussions are for like casting an extra 2 spells, right? Like that could be like the difference between everything. But for me, like I would say like your best bet is definitely to work with that guy, right? Like the guy that you know is good. Like, you don't want to give him everything you want, but you want to negotiate with him. Right? Because if you two negotiate together, and all the while this is all going on, you're like encouraging the flow of information and just people talking, right? Because the newer players, like, oh, I hate this. We're having a discussion on how to beat up newer players, but that's okay. Like, you have to do it.
It is what it is. It is what it is. And we're not talking, let's be clear, we're not talking about collusion. We're not talking about that. We're talking about working with known quantities over unknowns.
Well,
right?
And also collusion's a casual concept, bro. Like, unless you like bribe somebody, like collusion, like,
yeah,
you can't stop it. There's no rules against it. Like, that's just the format we're in. Like, go play 1v1 if you don't want people colluding. Like, how often have you ever sat down and all 3 of your opponents are like, hey, we want to draw because it locks us, and you're like, I need to win, and they're like,
all right, I'm playing Dark Pools 1, and I'm gonna die. You know,
dude,
like,
you're screwed. You're never winning those games, right? But like, you can't call the judge and be like, all these guys have they want different things than me. It's like, and they won their games.
Gonna say, suck it up.
Yeah, like if you're in a position like that, it's because you never realized just how far you were for winning you were.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you need to win your early rounds so you don't get in these like unique political positions in like rounds 4 and 5.
Yeah, but part of that is the game, right? Like, winning early lets you pop up in and have easier conversations. You don't get stuck with, I'm not going to point to anybody on this board because nobody fills that what I'm about to talk about. But you're not going to get stuck with people who are purposely going to throw games and just like are not only new, but just like wild cards that you can't work with and you can't, navigate around, right? That happens a lot.
Yeah, another thing that I think is really worth talking about is like, are the newer players playing level 0 proactive decks, or are they playing like next level decks? Right? Because if like a guy shows up with no bad cards Kinnan or Roggish Eye, or like just something with a commandeer in his deck, essentially.
It's something like the spell that you have to explain how good it is because everybody's gonna be like, what the hell is that?
Yeah. Versus like if he sits down with like Dargo Timna or Dargo Rayhan or like any of whatever, pick your variety of mono red storm decks or Ral or something like that. Like, you have to evaluate those differently because like in those scenarios, like you have to beat the deck, right? Because the deck like has less player autonomy, so there's less ability to like negotiate your opponent's paths when they have one thing that they want to do in mind.
Yeah, so
like, you're not going to talk the Ral player out of jamming if he wants to jam.
Like, examples of this would be these decks, a lot of agency. I think it's more, guy sits down with a deck where you have to make a lot of decisions to win the game succinctly, and navigate through some politics. Is the guy you want to be aware of. And the other known quantities like Ral, like Dargo Timna, that are like a Tali, that are more linear I'm going to push on turn 2 and turn 3, do something.
Even Magda. Magda's a little slower and grindier, but she does like one thing.
Yep.
Right? Like the deck, I'm not saying the deck plays itself or that like a better Magda pilot isn't going to be able to get more mileage out of it, because that's true for any deck. It doesn't matter what deck it is. But if your deck is fundamentally proactive, like you have less time for your skill expression and to be able to like skill diff your opponent. Like, especially if you're on like, I mean, it depends on what you're on too, right? Because you have to speak from I'm speaking from the perspective of somebody who's been playing Blue Farm and like more like sloppy variants of Magic. You know?
Yeah, where there's a lot more decision making going on, a lot more talking.
Yeah, and you need your opponents to like cooperate. Otherwise, like if they don't, like the games can just go so off the rails. Like if a guy just wants to feed a Kinnan and like there's only one Bristic study at the table and the Kinnan has it, he's got 4 mana up. This is not the time to shove. You're going to get all of us killed, including yourself. First off, your combo's never going to resolve the way you want it to. Unless like literally it's like you resolve a Razaketh with the first spell or something like that, you know? Like, and then all right.
Well, that's the difference between a really good linear player and a bad one. Is the good linear player, like the Magda player, is they know what they're doing, right? So like a really good Magda player that like wrote the Magda Monicon or whatever the heck that primer is, they're not going to do that push unless the first thing they put on the stack is a Portal of Phyrexia, or you know what I mean? Like, and they're taking care of the Kinnan, and they're not casting any more spells. They're activating into the Oblivion, and you're all dead already.
Yeah.
The bad players are the Atali player that this is his first tournament, and he goes, Atali, and the Kinnan player's like, sick, thanks for 5 draws. You know what I mean? Like, you're dead. I'll hold this Mind Break trap up right before you put the food chain on the stack and wave to you guys as I drive away.
Yeah, and like you do run into good players that play those decks too. So like I guess we're not saying that like if I see an Atali, I think that player's bad. That's not like the case at all. It's that if you see a player that you evaluate their skill at being lower, like you need to think about like what he's on as to like how much attention, because you can kind of ignore like a weaker player on like a no bad cards Kinnan. Because like as soon as shit gets real, you're just gonna look to the left and be like, "Hey, dude, I need you to cast that Chain of Vapor." And he's gonna be like,
"Exactly,
I got you. I've been holding this."
Jedi mind trick him. Yep.
And then he'll die because he cast it on the wrong thing, because he doesn't have all the information. He's not asking the right questions. He's not making deals in response to. He's like, "Well, I'll cast it if you don't XYZ, or if you do XYZ." Right.
Yep. Do you know how? The last thing I'll say, and then we'll get back to how you've been doing lately, is the way this game went to a draw here. Is Andrew Blake, seat 1, he's Rogthras, another Rogthras player, developed an insane board and passed. Okay, so we all knew it was 1 turn left. I put Isaac kind of loaded up, but he didn't have a draw engine out, just a couple cards in hand. TJ was on Sisay. He was out of the game. He like missed a land. He kept the wrong land. He even asked us if he could like remulligan after this next person kept, and we were like, nah, dog, you're screwed. But basically the reason this game went to a draw is I put Devoted Druid in play, and I dropped a oh my god, 4 mana, taps for blue, copies the Druid, Machine God's effigy.
Okay.
And Isaac said, if you push, we're going to draw this game. We're going to counter this, and we're going to draw this game. And I was like, well, okay. I kind of went into like game action mode and stopped talking and just kind of started putting spells in the stack. And I said, Isaac, I won't push if you give me a little love here. Show me what you're working with, and he was like, I will counter this. And I said, can I see the counter spell? And I won't put it on the stack. And he said, no. And I was like, okay. I put it on the stack because I'm not going to die to Rogthras, and I'm not giving Isaac another turn with that kind of mentality.
Yeah.
He goes, okay.
You show the spell, like they're not taking the card back, dude. You need to chill, like ever.
Yeah. He put Cabal Ritual on the stack, and I said, that's not a counter spell.
And they put Ad Nausea on the stack.
No, we drew. I was like, I'm done. And the other 2 players had interaction, and I said, I'm not letting this go any further because I know what this is. And he agreed to the draw because
the other players didn't have interaction.
They did. I didn't know that until that moment. So the Rogthras player had unloaded his hand. He had 1 card in hand,
and it was a piece.
And it was an MBT. Okay. And I literally cast Chord for Devoted Druid, and then the Machine God. So I was goodbye MBT. I don't give a shit about that card. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
at that point. But the Sisse player who had done nothing all game, sorry TJ, kept the wrong land, had 2 pieces, and then Isaac had a piece. So I really, the window was closed, but I was banking on, you know, push or die kind of at that point.
Yeah. What was he going
Which
to do
is,
with the Cabal Ritual?
that is a good question.
Why'd you
I
concede there?
never, huh?
Why did you like accept the draw there?
I just felt like I didn't want, and sometimes this is probably a problem. Maybe I shouldn't have, but I felt like him casting a Cabal Ritual there after he'd done nothing the whole game, like he literally just put man on the board. And sometimes Isaac likes to do that where he'll like say he wants to draw, but it's really just a feint almost, or at least maybe I'm interpreting his play that way, where he'll say, I want to draw, and then he'll win the game. He's done that a couple of times when I've played against him. I felt like we were going in that direction, whereas maybe he plays the Cabal Ritual and he does counter my spell, but then he's got a bunch of black left over, and it just felt very sus to me. And maybe he was 4D chessing me, dude. Maybe he was like, I'm going to put a proactive piece into play and force Sean to want to draw. Maybe. I don't know.
I think maybe he had an ad nauseum and he was
Probably.
like trying to fish for information about whether or not the ad nauseum was going to resolve.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I don't know. I'm not sure. Obviously, I wasn't there. The Cabal Ritual to me doesn't signal anything other than he has mana to use, or he has something to use that mana for.
Yeah.
Which, like, obviously, depending on if he had other colors, like it could have been intuition. It could have been, which it probably wasn't intuition, because like, why would you search up? There's no reason to use Cabal Ritual, so it would have been like Gifts Ungiven, Ad Nauseum. Those are the only 2 cards I could think of that Isaac plays.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. I was like, whatever this is, it's not good for me. And after this gets countered, I have no agency in this game for like the whole turn cycle. So I saw it going, these 2 players are going to help Isaac stop me. And then he's going to stop the Rog Thras player, and we're dead. You know what I mean? And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to bank on him not wanting to play that out either and draw this game and just move on with my life with 6 points, or at that time, 1 point. I was just trying to get a point on the board and move on.
Yeah, no, I know the feeling. It's tough sometimes. Just at the last event that we played, I accepted a draw, and then we played it out, and I won it. And it was really disappointing. I mean, I ended up having 3 Bowmasters on the field at the end of that game, so that was kind of cool. Check that off. Yeah, I've never seen it before. It was my Bowmaster. I just cloned it 3 times or 2 times. But
was that wrong side?
That was wrong side. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Dang. Yeah. Because it was the event we played. Okay.
Yeah. That deck's cool.
All right. Let's get back on track, dude. This is what happens, man. We just keep talking. Which I love.
That's why we're here.
So
right?
you made a switch, and I've asked you this a couple times, but I want to just talk about it on the pod since I got you. Is last year you were the only Naya player at the Invitational. You ran Table Manners, and you got stuck in a hellish 3-pod combo. But you are basically known as the best Rocco player, for a long time. And Tordith is also really great, but you guys play very different lists. And this is the main list here. And then this year you made the switch. You said, I'm not playing Rocco anymore. Screw this. I love that deck, but I'm retiring it for a while. And I'm going to play meta decks.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say good decks because I think Rocco's a great deck. Meta decks, and I'm going to game in a different way. Why? Can you talk about why you made that decision? What made you play Rocco in the first place, and then where you're at right now and how you feel about where you're at right now.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess the reason I got off of Rocco, or would you rather hear the reason I got on it?
Yeah.
The reason to play Rocco, or the reasons to not play Rocco? Because there's reasons to play it and there's reasons not to play it, right?
Yep. Let's start with why you got on it in the first place and your run last year.
So, Rocco's a kind of deck that it plays really well into these Rhystic games, because it doesn't feed Rhystic studies. So, like, it's kind of like Time in a sense that, like, it doesn't put a lot of spells on the stack, and like on the turn it wins, it usually the Mindbreak Trap never even turns on. So when you're playing a deck that like the only counter spells that interact with it are Pact Force, what's the X spell?
Disrupting Shoal.
Disrupting Shoal. And like that's kind of it. Like outside of like your food chain wins, like negates just don't work. And then when you're in your lines, you can lose to spot removal. But like those are like not super frequent. Oh, we got a guy.
Hello.
Hi, Reno.
So you talking about Rocco?
Yeah, he heard the farm. Thought he'd come over, I guess. Yeah, this is Kirk's cat. Say hi, Reno. Okay. So, yeah, like initially, like when I first started playing the list, we were playing it during Dockside meta. So it was much faster, but by like having Mana Crypt and Jeweled Lotus and Dockside, like yes, this deck got worse, quote unquote, but like everybody got worse when those cards went away. So it changed the dynamic of it altogether. The list, it really didn't change that much in like what the deck does, but the cards changed. So like the idea here is like you get a Rector into play with a certain setup of random creatures. It doesn't even matter what they are. If you get Academy Rector into play, like you can get your food chain and just start sacking off your stuff, cast Rocco, get Squee, make Infinite Mana, tutor up every creature in your deck. That one's really simple. The Arena Rector one, it lets you get the Vivian and then go through like a Birthing Pod line that ends in Kiki Jiki and Fellow Dark Guardian. And so like both of those lines like play around certain things. So the Academy Rector one, it plays around spot removal. Like it's really hard to like what are you gonna use your Swords to Plowshares on if I have like 4 creatures out, right?
Yeah,
like, you're gonna Swords the one with the highest CMC, but if I can still get back to the mana I need to cast Rocco, then like I'm gonna be able to get my food chain. The other option is you could bounce the food chain at the right spot, which the advent of Into the Flood Maw actually was a huge bane for this list because of that. Because it means they weren't on Chain of Vapor and Swords, they were on 2 Chain of Vapors essentially.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then obviously Besaju's always been an issue, but like when you have 2 Chain of Vapors floating around, 2 ways to answer your food chain combo, it gets a lot worse. Both of those cards also bounce the Birthing Pod and the Vivian, so you can break up those lines as well. So that kind of like really hurt the deck. Like I was like talking with Andy the other day, and I was like, you'd be surprised what card actually made me want to get off this list, and it was Into the Flood Maw being printed.
Really?
Because
that's interesting, man. I would never think that because sometimes I'll cut Flood Maw, which is my fault, but it's one of those cards where I'm like, I have chain. Why do I care about a second chain? You know what I mean? And a lot of times I'll be running Snapback too, which is free. So I look at Flood Maw as like, all right, you know what I mean? A third piece that I need. But in this, you're right. It's backbreaking to this list for all those reasons. And unless you're playing against a good Rocco player like you all the time, you may not even know where to do it. Like, for example, in our wrong side tournament at the cookout, I bounced the wrong creature. I had a Snapback and I bounced this like one of the new red-white wizards that doubles triggers. I can't remember his name.
Oh,
I bounced that because I thought, what's it again?
It's like Curiel or something. Curiel.
Yeah. Doesn't super matter. I'm not gonna waste time looking it up, but
no.
Bounced that and then I died already. We were dead anyways. I found out like the Rocco was basically going to use that to get Grand Abolisher then combo, and he just had to do it without the Abolisher, and no one had anything. So, 'twas what it was, I guess. But I probably could have stopped it. No, I actually couldn't have. So, either way, it's tricky unless you play against the Rocco a lot.
You know what's funny is that card is probably the most recent addition to the list, and it opens up some kind of like. It does like marginally improve some lines, but realistically, like it doesn't do anything for the list. It just kind of like gives you some other options, but like none of those options are better than anything you're otherwise doing.
Yeah.
Right? Because like you think, okay, you cast the Rocco, and then that card like lets you tap 2 creatures. So you tap the Rocco that just played, like you just played with its ETB on the stack, and you tap the Curel to double the Rocco trigger. So you could cast like X equals 3 and get Village Bellringer plus Jolly Blue Man, and if you have like a bird out, you can just like go off right there.
Go bajillion mana and win the game. Yep.
Exactly. And there's some 4 mana stuff too, where you can get like one of the Rectors plus Dreadnought or something like that. It's like fine, but like the reality is like you paid 3 mana for the dude, and then you paid 6 or 7 mana for Rocco.
Rocco. Yep.
So you're still looking at like a 9 to 10 mana combo. Like that's not even that good. Whereas like if you're looking to go as fast as possible, you can do the Arena Rector combo with 7 mana, just straight up, like straight out of the zone. All you need is like a 0 mana way to kill the Rector. So like Pyrokinesis, Thunderclap, or there's like a lot of 1 mana ways of doing it. So it's like kind of a 8 mana combo in those, but those are like High Market, Lazotep Quarry, Metamorphosis, Infernal Plunge, right? Stuff like that.
It's so funny that these are dual purpose. I never thought about. I'm not a rock like clearly, but Thunderclap. When I look at this, I go, "Oh, you're trying to. That's weird. Why are you trying to kill a creature? I guess it's a free lightning bolt." But it's like, oh, you're trying to kill your own crap. Duh.
Yeah, the list before I like got off the list, I was kind of leaning into Final Fortune a lot. Like that card's so good because you can like tutor up the Abolisher and then Final Fortune and then untap and just like this card has like 30 cards that like win the game with the commander.
Yeah. Very cool, man. Okay, so you're off it because of card interaction that got printed into the format that made it really difficult to consistently win, whereas before it was more explosive with Dockside. You had way more mana to cast the Rocco early, and it was just easier to just pop win turn 2, turn 3 without worrying about freaking Flood Maw, basically.
Yeah, also just in general, there's been a trend, and now we're seeing it come to a head now where like interaction is just going up and up and up and up. Like people...
crazy efficient interaction.
Yeah, well, the only reason we can do it is because we have crazy efficient ways to win the game.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I don't need to worry about spending a bunch of mana into my win con. It's 2 mana. I play on a World Breach, and I've been casting spells all game, staying alive.
Mm-hmm.
Game's over.
Well, look at Kinnan and Thrasios. Like they kind of dedicate like half a card to winning the game. Like name the card in Kinnan that like is there to win the game. Cephalid Coliseum, if that's even the one that they're using anymore.
Right, Fairy Mastermind.
They're like off endurance. Yeah, like they're not doing the Green Sun Zenith thing. If they were, like I just named 3 cards that are like fire, right? And like Fairy Mastermind being like a lot of people's win condition these days is like the issue with that is it means that players don't have to put like 5 cards on their list to like kill people. So they can just play this game that is like, you're just trying to like hit this asymptote where it's
trying to solitaire into your win, right? All these pieces are also value pieces and also win the game, right?
Yeah. Well, all their value pieces and their interaction, you actually don't need almost anything to win the game because you'll just figure it out.
Hullbreaker Horror is a Kinnan card where it's like, this bounces your spells off the stack. It also bounces my rocks to make infinite mana.
Yeah. That's a really good example of like that one actually, though, it doesn't win the game. It puts you in a game-winning state, right? So like same with Basalt. It's like just because you have infinite mana and Thrasios out, that doesn't mean like you won the game.
Right.
Right. You need to
effectively.
What?
But effectively you've won the game because
it
gives you access to all your cards, and all your cards are broken interaction and oppression and combo pieces.
The reason it's not worth considering those cards as win conditions is because like they're so good you would run them anyway because you like the combos. But like once you've drawn your whole deck, like you can get super creative about how you win.
Yeah, which is my favorite thing to do, by the way. That's why I love Turbo Farm, because my goal in that deck is not just to win, because if it was just to win, I wouldn't play the copious cards that I play. It's to win with Necropotence and a flipped Burgie so that I can Necro for 30 and then exile all my cards or discard all my cards to Burgie and then put a natural Thassa's Oracle on the stack. Like, that's what I want to do, which is an insane, fun thing to do that is difficult to pull off, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree. I've been enjoying my time with farm. I guess the reasons I switched to farm, if we want to move on to that, because
Sure.
I
Yeah.
do enjoy talking about some farm. This is a new thing to me. I have not really experienced this much in my life. But
Do you
uh,
mind if we pull up your farm list?
it's just
Or you got one?
called blue, I think. Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead. That's
Yeah.
fine. I don't even know what version is it's on right now because like me and Kyle change this thing like once a week or every other week.
Yep.
And I have first off, I have to thank Kyle for putting me onto Breach because that man literally won't stop talking to me about it.
He's like a one-trick pony, and he is the best one-trick pony. Like, you texted us the other day in the chat, and you were like, Kyle, you're the best blue farm player. Did you know that? You have more wins than anybody else. And he was like, shut up. It's like, dude, you don't play any other decks.
Hey man, but also like, when you see a man like resolve an underworld breach on turn 2 and kill you like so many times, you're just
Yep.
like, dude, I have to pay 7 mana to kill people. And like, I'm not saying that Rocco's a bad deck. That's not even remotely what I'm saying. In fact, like if there was a skilled pilot on it right now, it might be in a really good spot because like a lot of people are forcing like turn 4 to happen. You know what I mean? You
We
see
just
that in a
talked
lot
about
of
it.
games where like,
Eastern.
yeah, there's just so much cheap interaction. This might be the style list that can really put a resilient win on the stack that like can win through a lot of stuff. But like when you look at like Underworld Breach, like you can cast Cavern of Souls into Grand Abolisher, and then your whole combo, like they needed either a way to exile it or bounce it off the stack, or they need like Beseiju or Otawara, right? Like there's just so few, or I mean, I say bounce it off the stack. I was thinking Subtlety. That card, I hate that card.
Oof.
Oh, dude, when
All the
people
Kinnons
start
are
playing
running Subtlety these
dude,
days.
that's a reason to not play Rocco right now.
Yep. I would say all the Rogish eyes and the controlled Kinnons, some control Kinnons, I should say, not all of them, but they're all running Subtlety, dude. It's brutal.
But yeah, with farm, it's just like everything's so efficient, right? Underworld Breach is like, if we're just talking about the proactive stuff, it's like so like there's nothing more efficient in the entire game because like you don't even need like LED brain freeze. Like you can just cast it on like whatever turn, look over your graveyard, and there's just like nasty stuff in there, dude. Like and you can cast all of them multiple times and do whatever you need to do. But like obviously when you get the LED, it's like, what are we even doing, dude? How is this legal at all?
Yeah, it took me a while to realize that this deck is a breach. It is a Underworld Breach deck. A lot of people like talk about farm and they'll say, oh man, Necropotence and Ad Nauseam are so scary. It's like, yeah, sure, but it's a breach deck. Like,
I lost 2 games in the finals of tournaments by resolving turn 1 Necropotences in farm. It's really not a necro deck. Like to be honest, like the necros to me are like turn 3 or 4 or 5 plays. Right, where you have your mana developed, you kind of like have built this like position with people, and you just silence the table, hit them with a necro, or just like run the necro out. It's really hard to counter. Like surprisingly enough, like there's just not. It dodges like some random stuff that like they can't fluster storm it. Like they can't do like SWAT doesn't do anything. What's the other one? Swan Song gets it right. That's enchantment. Sorcery.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Swan Song. Yeah. Well, what are we doing? We have the blue package right here. Pact, Swan Song, Negation, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Trap. If you
none of the bounce spells work on it. right? Like,
Blood Maw.
yeah, you can't really mind break trap it a lot of the times.
And the thing with Flood Maw and like these bounce spells is like, oh, I guess it has to be in play, right? So it's in play. So it's like, cool, your Flood Maw's on the stack. You just told me I have to go right now. So unless it's a turn 2 Necro, I really don't give a shit. You know, like,
yeah.
okay, cool, I activate for 20 and sculpt a perfect hand if I don't get there. Otherwise, I win right now.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, like if I go turn 1 Necro and you try to bounce it, like I'm drawing 20.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm not drawing 10 and then, like I'm drawing my 20 right now. Right.
Yeah. And there's no power on board that's going to kill me with 20 life. So I'm going to get the perfect 7 to win on turn 2. You know what I mean? Like,
even if you don't win on turn 2, like if there's not one there, like you just keep the most egregious like farm setup, right? Where you're just like trying to like dive into the mid game and like now you don't have a necropotence like scumming up your hand. You just discard it. Like, bye. Okay.
Yep.
I'm gonna play all these rocks, play a Ristic Study and Esper Sentinel, and I'm gonna hold up like a tutor and 4 pieces of interaction. Go ahead.
Yep. So, all right, let's talk about this then, because we got to keep this. I keep forgetting we're on a show. We're just talking like we're eating breakfast. I feel like I should have eggs right in front of me. So the reason you shifted to this is the sheer power and the agency that gives you in the game versus Rocco, which you felt like, was it like a series of tournaments where you were having tough games and you were like, okay, at this point, this is not me anymore. This is the deck is not well positioned anymore. Or how was that? Was it between one season and the next?
Well, when you play a deck that doesn't have Ristic Study in it, you are setting yourself up to play a lot less Magic. And what I mean by that is like, a lot of times you're only doing things at sorcery speed. And like, if you are doing stuff at not sorcery speed, one of the nice things about not being blue is no one will ever count on you to have interaction, which is an advantage, right? But so like, you'll always have the last piece. You'll always know if everybody's out of interaction, which is really nice. I've gotten a lot of wins by like, oh, nobody's got anything cool. I guess I'll use this Thunderclap, kill that card, untap, play Rocco for 4, sack this off. I know nobody's got interaction because if you did, we would have used it, or you all showed me your hands or whatever. But like when you sit down and play against these like big games of Magic, like where there's like multiple draw engines in play and stuff, and especially with like the people like leaning further into that now the dockside doesn't exist because the winds are actually slower. It's just like you might go to a tournament and like have like 10 minutes of playtime, but like you went to time every round.
Yep.
And so like that was like the biggest thing for me is like that kept happening is like sometimes you don't even get to the shove. You don't even get to present a win.
Yeah.
Because
and it feels like you were cheated out of almost like the money you paid to play the tournament.
I mean, that's what it is. Yeah. Like just, I don't really feel that way, I guess, because I've just been playing for so long that like, you just become resilient to like losing. I don't really like, it's not like I don't want to lose, but it doesn't like get me down, you know?
Yeah. In the moment, I lose my fucking mind, but
sure. Yeah.
I don't dwell on it like I used to.
Because yeah.
You get so many more games and it's like, okay, well, the 500th loss and the 400th win don't feel as great and as bad as the 3rd and 4th. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally agree. But yeah, like that's really the biggest thing is like, I think Ristic Study should be banned. I don't think that like you should be able to tutor up one card and the card literally says like uncounterable on it, I swear to God, because no one will ever counter a Ristic Study. Yeah.
What?
It says hexproof. You know what I mean?
Ian, that's not true. The last person to counter my Ristic Study was you.
Yeah, but that's because I'm different. You know what I mean? I'm going against the grain.
He said that's because I want to punish you, Sean. That's
No, that's so funny. That's so funny. But you know what I'm talking about. Like, any good player will not counter a Ristic Study.
Yeah, for sure. No good players going. I mean, the situations now these days, I don't think that's true. I think the Ragisha Ristic Study, you do consider countering.
Dude, if Kinnan puts a Mystic or more on the stack,
Mm-hmm.
I'm force of willing it.
You are?
Yes, dude. Are you kidding me?
It's never
Like,
going away.
because he already has the mana issue solved.
Yes.
As a farm player, when you put your Rhystic Study or your Mystic Remora on the stack, you need that Mystic Remora or Rhystic Study to solve your mana issues.
Yes.
Ken doesn't need that at all.
Nope.
He's already solved that issue
Mm-hmm.
when he sat down.
100%.
He needs to solve the card advantage issue every time. So like the decks are looking for different things. Like with farm, like you really just need one demonic tutor and the game's over.
Yeah.
Kinnan needs a ton of shit.
Yes, it is. That is so funny. Like I think about these things, but I never put them into words, and I don't hear them that often. So I think that's interesting. Is Blue Farm, you have to solve both problems simultaneously, and you're doing it with a higher quality of cards.
Yeah.
Where you only need a few cards to win the game and a few mana to win the game. You rarely in farm, almost never, you are making infinite mana. Rarely. Because your quality is so high, right? You're playing a linear game plan, not linear, but like a shorter game plan than Kinnan, which is I have so much mana. I need one of the 50 freaking cards that gets a Rhystic Study in my list. They played like whatever the hell those creatures are. Drift of Phantasms or Dizzy Spell to get to your, like the ridiculous tutors that you have.
6 mana Rhystic Study.
Solve that card draw. And then you need to draw a bajillion cards and make a bajillion mana, and then you win the game, right? Farm is like, I need 5 mana and 3 spells.
Mm-hmm.
And the game's
right.
over.
Or 4 mana and 1 spell.
Right.
Demonic Tutor, get my Audible Breach. Right?
Game's over. Yeah.
LEDs in the grave, petals in the grave, whatever. Game's over.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's definitely, those are the two, I think, to me, especially when you I think on top 16 right now, they're both about 7% of the meta share right now.
8 and 7, yeah. In the last 6 months.
Yeah, hit 1 month.
Yeah. Yeah, wow.
Yeah. So farm's still above Kinnan a little bit.
Barely.
They're just it's so funny because they're both Rhystic Study decks and they're both doing their thing, but Tim Necrom has a legitimate turbo plan and Kinnan really doesn't have a legitimate turbo plan. I know you guys were building one last week, which was pretty spicy. Ian has gotten me, dude.
If I was a better player, I would have won that Isaac game. I realized I was like, just get the freaking dose in first. I had 1 million mana, and then I can dirtle all day, But
yeah,
that's that's just me playing 1 million decks and not knowing what the fuck I'm talking about. You know what I mean?
Feeling it's good. It's good.
Yeah. Ian's a witch with that turbo list, and we were like a couple cards off of his normal list. It was so funny that basically became let's build my list and talk about it, which was awesome. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
You're right. It is very hard. I felt that. I was like, turn 2, turn 3 Kinnan wins. You have to sequence really well because you're dealing with mana math that I'm not used to, where you're like, well, if I play the cards in this sequence, I make 15 mana, but if I play them in this sequence, I make 7, And so that was the challenge that I felt. And that, unless you get really good at it, is a tough turbo plan. Whereas in farm, you're doing smaller math, but you're thinking about cards in a longer sequence, I think.
It's not even it's not even as much sequencing as it is, how do I say this? It's like a color definition issue, right? So Kinnan's essentially a mono blue deck that uses green for mana and to some small extent consistency and in its tutors, and then there's a little bit of value generation in there too.
Yep.
But the way green mana works is it grows, right? So it's it's 1, then 3, then 5, then 9, then 15, 20, right? It scales like that, right? Whereas farm is more of a it's more of a Grixis deck with silences.
Which that is literally what it is. Yeah.
Right. Because you don't dip into white for anything else.
Nope.
And And like a Grixis deck is essentially a Rakdos deck with counter spells and some draw engines and some stuff like that. Right? I think like when you're playing this style of list and you use your big mana turns, those big mana turns often result in your next turn being a much smaller turn, and maybe even the turn before it.
You shoot your shot and you're done. If you can't get there, you're cooked.
Yeah, but the card quality is so high that like when you press that go button, you're usually going to get there, and that's like because of the silences. Like I don't mind sacking off my whole board to Calling the Weeks if I know they're going to fuel my Underworld Breach, and like I don't have to pass the turn after this. Right?
Yep.
It just it's like different. So yeah, that's like I've been feeling it a lot lately on farm, and I think that's why a lot of people have moved towards Rog Ishai, is because it's their attempt to solve Blue Farm's biggest issue. You have a lot of reps on Blue Farm too. And for anybody who's like played Blue Farm a lot, like they know that you just need mana the whole time. I want more mana. I want more mana. I want more. It's so hungry for mana because the cards, like you'll never run out of cards because both your commanders draw cards. So like even if you're in the worst case scenario, which is I'm casting Tymna and Crom, right? Like you're just drawing cards. And so you just want more mana to be able to cast everything you can. And so I think that that's actually everybody's solution. Now that Rhystic Study, now that Dockside's gone and Rhystic Study is like far and away the best thing to be doing in the format, you can count on these copy enchantment effects to give you your Rhystic Study, even in decks that don't play black and don't have the ability to tutor up Rhystic Study. And they're using Rograk as a way to give them a mana advantage, and that's it. Like it's like the poor man's Kinnan. You know what I'm saying? But it has Underworld Breach, right? But how do you win with Underworld Breach in that deck? Well, you draw copious amounts of cards. Like you just draw into it.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting, man. I feel like Rog Ishai is almost like a hybrid between the no bad cards Kinnan and a control farm list.
Yeah.
In a sense, because it keeps the silences, so you keep the agency of being able to shut out a game. You lose a little bit of the mana, and the tutor consistency, right? Because you're losing black, but you're gaining almost like more interaction, and you keep breach. So that's why I feel like the one challenge I see, and I haven't played Rog Ishai, by the way. I need to proxy that sucker up or just sleeve it up. It's just such a pain in the ass to rearrange my collection of singles to every freaking week. But
I know what you mean.
I do want to feel out the deck because I feel like the one thing I've seen I haven't lost to it a lot. I'll say that. Like in tournaments, a lot of the times, I think I haven't played Andy specifically, and I'm sure he would win against me. But other players that I've played against that have picked it up that are more of like an average player, they really struggle with closing out the game. No one will win the game, or you have to like really fight to find that window. Like you have to have them try and stop two players and then you win, almost.
Yeah. Well, also like you played a lot out with me and Kirk, right? And Kyle. You've played a lot with me, Kirk, and Kyle. So like especially when you first got new to the format. So you're a talker too. Like you just picked that up from us, bro. Like if you sit down against Rog Ishai, they're probably going to draw against you because you're just going to eat their clock. It's going to be 60 minutes into the turn or into the game, and we're going to be like, dude, we're on turn 3. It's like,
sucks to suck. You put a 15th spell in this deck, and I got to talk about it.
Yeah, like it's just a matter of fact. Like that's have you seen any draw data recently?
Is there a good site that you want to pop up on? We can.
No, I don't know either. I'd have to talk to Kirk about that, but I've heard it's been going up since the last couple months.
I try to push the game. So like in our game specifically is a good example of this, where if I know I'm dead, come on, man, what are we doing? I'm not going to sit here and like try and yap you for 15 minutes while you're going through your combo. Like with the game we played with Cabbage that I'm going to talk about with Evan later. He had us. We were dead. And you and I were like, hands up, you have to combo for 10 minutes and we have no game actions. Do your thing. And he just, I'm not going to do that to somebody, and maybe I lose points, and maybe that's wrong. Like I know you have a different opinion on that sometimes, right? Like you're not
Yeah.
going to like intentionally make bad game actions, but you will fight to the bitter end, right?
So it depends on the situation. Because I agree with you. Like the thing that we did with Evan, right? Like it was just we didn't have any interaction. We couldn't do anything, right? But there's a different scenario where like you have 20 mana, but you can't do anything,
100%.
right? So like in this scenario, I can describe one. This is actually this happened when we went to Nashville. I played against a B, and he was playing Just Guy Ishai as well, and he assembled the like double tithe fairy mastermind loot,
Mm,
and he had like an extra 20 mana or so, and he was the first person to resolve his spells in priority order,
damn.
right? So like he was just in like a really good spot to lock everything on the stack and just go. And I think I had like 85 treasures and like 50 or 60 cards in my hand. And I think it was Zach Adler. He was playing Rogsai, and he had something similar.
Wow.
Right? Like he had mana. I think he had a tide that he cloned. He was on like wrong side. He also had a bunch of mana, right? And we looked at a B, and a B goes, "Yo, look, Angel's Grace. I'm gonna resolve this, so you guys can't win. Period. Also, I have the ability to activate my Fairy Mastermind infinite times." And I was like, "Yeah, that's cool and all, but like, I got so many spells here, bro. Like, he would go activation, and I would be like, great response, Dark Ritual, trigger. You know what I mean? Like, what do you want to do? Do you want to resolve these triggers? Do you want to, like, we all have, every time you make us draw, we've got Smothering Tithe triggers, like, which is just going to give us more mana. And like, we literally for the next 10 minutes, he was like, activate Cabal Ritual, activate Vampiric Tutor, activate Chain of Vapor targeting one of your things that matters, activate Silence, activate, like, you know what I mean? Over and over and over again. It just didn't matter. Like, nothing was ever going to resolve, but mechanically, like, he didn't actually have us decked out.
Yeah. It's so hard. I have such a contrary and like thought, like part of my mind goes, that is the grossest shit. Like, but
I agree.
The equal other part of my mind goes, I will not lose any game. Like my default is I'm not losing this game. So if we're in the Swiss and you're trying to win and I have things I can do and put on the stack, and there's a 8 millionth out that could possibly make me not lose this game, I'm gonna freaking do it. And as long as we're playing Magic, tete-a-tete, someone's doing something, somebody else is doing something, like, I don't know, man. Like, it's, why are we playing this format if it's not to try and win, you know? And winning the tournament is the ultimate win, right?
Well, I think you hit on it right there, is like, do you consider 1 point a win?
In a 5-round or 7-round tournament where I need to get, there's breakers involved, hell yeah.
It matters, right? So like, do you want a big win or a small win? That's what we should start calling it.
Yeah, big win.
A draw is a small win that we can all share. We all take 1/4 of the pie, right? Right, and then there's a tax. The 5th point goes to the shop. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yep.
But like, no, I agree. Like, I think everybody, and you hear people talk about it all the time, is like the draw issue is a real issue. It's not something that's we're unaware of. Like, we feel it every single time we sit down, and like, people start figuring this stuff out early, bro. Like, I'm sure, like, draws really became like prominent like 2 years ago, but like good players have been doing it forever. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of like, when does everyone get exposed to it? And once everybody gets exposed to it, they start seeing like all the different ways that you could force people into a draw. But like if you're clever, like Kirk has been forcing draws on people for
eons. Yeah,
dude.
My first tournament, I got to tell this because he's going to come on here and I'm going to tell it again probably, but real quick, first tournament, Kirk, I'm playing the Gila. Kirk's next to me on his Aranis Street Urchin deck, which I called out last time.
Yep.
And he used me as a machine gun. And I was the new player, baby player, holding my bottle. I can't wait to play CDH. Never met him.
Savage.
He goes, okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Your Najeela's in play, and that's basically your only plan. And you just told me you have 3 counter spells. Sam Valley's putting a win on the stack. I'll destroy your whole board, including your Najeela, with my Aranis activations. Or you counter the spell. And I said, yeah, we're buds. Got it. And now I'm like, oh, we draw that game. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. You got to play against him at least a couple times, and you learn something every time you sit down.
Every time.
You feel bad when you walk away a lot of times because, I've said this so many times. Kirk's play style isn't win. It is win and make you feel inferior.
Oh, he's a unicorn, man.
He's a unicorn, bro. He's goated.
Yeah. The fact that you took this long to play farm and he refuses to play farm drives me nuts, because I'm like, there's players like you guys out there that I play against, and I'm like, oh, you guys just choose to play decks that interest you, and you give up like generic win percentages because of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, but you don't want to do, like, he has no interest in that,
Well, he plays a lot of Rockside.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, like when he goes down to the casual nights and stuff like that, like
Casual CDH, let's be clear. He's not pub
yeah,
stomping.
of course CDH. Yeah, he's not just pub stomping with Rockside. Casual.
He goes
CDH.
down to casual night and plays wrong side.
That's really funny. No, yeah, he's he wants to just like know how it works and stuff like that. So, and I think that's important. I think everybody should, like, whether or not you want to like play Blue Farm or play Rogsai or Rogishai or Kinnan or anything like that, like, you should snag your buddy's deck next time you sit down at at the kitchen table for CDH and just like get a couple rounds in. You know what I mean?
Man. Yep, 100%. Yeah, I think CDH is 1,000,000% worth everybody trying that plays casual. Like, of course, this is a CDH podcast, so we're gonna freaking say that, but I think it's the way the game is intended to be played. Like, at its purest form, Commander is playing with all the cards in the format, and if you're being serious about playing a game that is a free for all, like it's not a zero sum game. Like, somebody has to win.
Yeah.
This is the version of that game that is the way I think it should be played. Like the way I think it is intended to be played.
Yeah, I mean, until we got a lot of data online, I think there was a lot of people that were trying to do that, but like unsuccessfully.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like even myself, like I played Edric for like 9 years, and like, everywhere I went, I was winning, but it didn't matter because like we weren't playing for money, and you weren't always sitting down against somebody who's like trying their hardest to win the game.
I'm gonna call out Cool Dad Jake. You're talking about the Spy Master of Tress.
Yeah. No, this list is sick. Like, I mean, I don't know anything about his list because once they printed Tymna and Thrasios, I like threw this in the trash, and started playing other stuff. But yeah, because you look at this, it's like the worst. Like, it's only a 2-color Tymna. What are we doing?
It's terrible, and it's Simic. It's like, but it's it's cool, and I get you're like, this is my favorite Commander deck. I want to make this win every game I possibly can. I'm gonna pack it full of cards that look really powerful. That was me with this is actually a CDH Commander, but it's super fringe with Crick. I started with Life Gain. That was what I learned how to play on with my locals, and then I was just Googling and I saw Crick, and I was like, oh, that's cool. You can pay life for mana. And then I was like playing like a weird bracket 4 turbo Crick, and I was like, I love just winning. Like, that's how I felt. I thought that's how I got into CDH. I was like, how can I make this as powerful as possible? And I saw the bad dog list, who actually I became friends with later on, which is hilarious.
Oh, cool.
But I saw his list, and I like proxy. I didn't proxy. I bought the real cards. I like went through and was like, I like collecting. And then I was just cooking every table in casual night, and they were like not liking it. And I'm like, okay, I don't like this either. I don't like making people feel bad. And then I found CDH finally through the internet, and I was like, oh, here we go. Now you might feel bad, but at least we're playing on an even playing field.
A lot of people went through that too. I think that's how these tournaments like came about, is because enough people were just cooking their friend groups over and over again, and like, homie doesn't want to add a mana crypt to his deck. I guess that's on him, and like, obviously it's nice now that proxies are not only just accepted but readily available. That's a huge thing.
Yep.
But yeah, no, like honestly, bro, now that I'm looking at this might be the slop killer, right? Is this
Oh my God, stop, dude. What's going on right now? You're going to try and...
it's
I'll entertain anything. Don't do this to me,
what's
man.
that green card that lets everybody draw 1 million cards? We played it out with Irving the other day.
You're talking about my new favorite card, it's Heartwood Storyteller.
Yeah, Storyteller, bro. Irvin cast that card and then like never cast another spell for the rest of the game while we just let him draw his whole deck. That was so funny, dude. Anyway.
Yeah, this is hell on earth. But I actually, like, if I'm gonna play a Ristic Slop deck, we're playing, like, I'm doing this. I'm not playing the normal no bad cards. We're playing, okay, the stack is never resolving and I'm gonna win somewhere in the middle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't want to do that ever again.
I loved it. Dude, you of all people, you've been playing, when did you start playing Magic?
1999.
1999, and I got to put, who put it into play? Irving put it into play. You were like, what's that? I'm like, you don't know what Heartwood Storyteller is?
I knew what it was. I just didn't, it's the first time I've seen it come down into play. I know people have been talking about it for a couple months now, and like that card has been on Kirk's radar for years.
He told me to try it in Airness, and I did that at the Workgate prior, and I did turn 1 Cabbage Merchant, turn 2 Heartwood. I made 1 billion mana, and then I somehow got a sneak attack into play and like cheated all my creatures in. We went to time, as you do with this card, but it was like crack cocaine, dude, which I've never done. But it was basically like it was so good. Yeah, it was so good. Yeah, I am the Heartwood Storyteller, bro. Yeah, it was crazy. Funny. All right, we've been talking for like almost 2 hours, so let's get to the last couple tabs and then I'll let you go, dude. All right.
Sure.
Talk to me about Coercive Recruiter.
Oh, back to Rocco. Okay. So, yeah, you wanted to talk about some pet cards.
Yes.
Coercive Recruiter. This card was brought to my attention by Ruben Smith. He's like a European player, goes by R Smith. And this is essentially a way for Rocco to beat the One Ring. So yeah, it's amazing. So like when you're in your birthing pod lines, the birthing pod line is sacrifice a 3-drop, get Felidar Guardian, blink your pod effect, your pod or your Vivian, which resets it. You sack the Felidar Guardian, you get Karmic Guide that brings back the Felidar. The Felidar comes into play, blinks the pod effect again. Then you sack the Felidar off again, and you get Kiki Jiki. Kiki Jiki comes into play, you tap it, copy the Karmic Guide.
Yep.
That brings back the Felidar, right, off the ETB of the copied Karmic Guide.
Which flickers Kiki Jiki?
Which flickers
the Kiki.
You can, right there, flicker the Kiki and then go infinite, and then kill everybody with infinite Felidars. That's normally the way you go. I would still recommend like making your infinite Felidars, but then you, with the last blink, you target your pod and you sack off one of your Felidars and you get the Coercive Recruiter. This comes into play and the untap effect targets Kiki Jiki. But then when you tap the Kiki Jiki again, you copy the Coercive Recruiter. Now you have a second pirate that comes into play. And this says whenever Coercive Recruiter or another pirate. So which means the new Coercive Recruiter is going to trigger the original and this one and the new one, like the new copy you just made. So now you have 2 untap effects that you can target Kiki Jiki with. And then when one of them resolves, you tap the Kiki again, copy Coercive Recruiter, and then this will trigger all of the other ones into play. So every time a new Coercive Recruiter comes into play, you get 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, and it scales infinitely until you have infinite untaps, infinite Coercive Recruiters, and then you can start copying your Felidar, flickering and untapping all your lands. So now you have infinite mana and infinite ATBs, and then you can flicker Coercive Recruiter infinitely, steal all of your opponent's creatures, which would blow out any asymmetrical stacks or any stuff like that. And then you also have, because you have infinite flickers, you can flicker your pod over and over again and pretty much grab any creature in your deck, or you have infinite mana, right? Because of all the flickers of flickering your lands. you can use the pod to sacrifice the Rocco and then recast the Rocco for any 1s or 2s or 3s that are in your deck that you can't pod for. So by doing this, adding Cohesive Recruiter to your deck when you're playing Rocco or any pod shenanigans, you essentially turn a win that is infinite attackers in combat into infinite everything. Grab your whole deck, kind of like how Thrasios does it. Right.
So now I have to build this deck.
Right. So and then the last piece to this, by the way, that you didn't bring up is Shaman of the Forgotten Ways. That's the way that we found to actually win the game. It's in the list. It's a 3-drop green creature that taps for, right on the right hand side there. It taps for 2 mana of any color, but then it has a formidable ability which you can use to biorhythm the whole table, which Coercive Recruiter steals all of their creatures. So you can actually just set everyone's health to 0 and yours to infinite, and then they die and the One Ring can't protect them.
And you can get this out, and then all you have to do is copy it once, and it has haste with the Kiki ability, and tap with your infinite mana from the Coercive Recruiter, kill the table.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Coercive Recruiter or the Kiki can give it haste.
And that kills somebody who has the One Ring because it says each, right?
Well, no,
each
it says
player
protection.
doesn't target.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
doesn't target, and their life total going to 0 still kills them with the One Ring protection.
It's not damage. It just sets it to 0.
You know what's hilarious? I didn't know that, and I bought this when you told me about this card, just off of your pure talking about it. I'm like, I'm gonna buy a Shaman because it's $10 and it looks cool as shit, and it has biorhythm on it.
Yeah, it's honestly like it's a 3-mana dork that taps for 2, so it's like not even bad. Like, I mean, obviously, like that's kind of not that good, but as a card that alts as a win condition, like Thassa's Oracle doesn't do anything other than like the worst impulse you've ever seen in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like that's its alternate mode, is like I can look at the top 2 cards and put one of them on top.
This is like the ultimate brewer's advantage. Like you play a Shaman and everybody's like, okay, you know, that's the last thing someone's countering on a board. The last thing.
Yeah, this deck used to run into an issue with the One Ring. Like and the One Ring used to see a lot more play than it does.
Yeah, like around Lord of the Rings set release.
Yeah, for sure. For the next year almost, it's all up. It hasn't fallen off until the last like 3 or 4 months, but I think a lot of the players
it was too slow. I think we went through like a weird little turbo phase, and then now we're in like Ristic slot phase. I am seeing the One Ring show up a little bit more because games are going longer. Like I think I've seen a bunch of decks run it actually.
They run it if they can untap it, right? Or if they're low color and can't tutor it very well, or if they're non-blue, they might run it too.
Yep. But yeah, not as big a deal, but still a cool thing you can get around. It doesn't get around Angel's Grace until they go to the next turn, so you can't win with this type of combo in time, right?
Not through Angel's Grace, no, but the One Ring with Final Fortune has come up many times. Right? Or in time. Like if somebody has a One Ring protection in time, like you can't kill them.
Yeah.
Which means you can't win. So this is a way to solve that. And also, it just so happened that the alternative paths to like win with this deck through the One Ring were like way more cards and required you to play a different strategy. This gives you so much room in the list that you can actually just run a lot more mana, because this deck runs close to 60 cards that produce mana.
Yep.
It's like a very different like style of list than almost anything you'll see. It's like, I don't think there's any deck that's like it, to be honest. Maybe Sisay is probably the closest.
Yeah. And I think the reason that a lot of people haven't been running this style is you're almost like a samurai, dude. You're just waiting for your turn to just shove like a mother, you know?
Dude, that's actually I would make that a lot. It's like when you play decks that have like low card advantage, your win needs to be extremely decisive. So
you're not a double barrel shotgun. You're a bazooka.
Drop the blade one time. Don't drop it ever twice. You know what I mean?
Yep. You're spending most of the game sharpening the blade, and then you just go, all right, in your
It's
deck.
time, boys. Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing I do really like about this style is you just don't feed the heuristics or the mystics like at all, really.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a
That's
big
a
fan of
great
that.
point.
Like you can like you existing does keep them, it makes it much harder for them to get into big games. They have to like the way that you get into big games when you're playing this deck is like 2 people resolve engines and then somebody wheels. And then it becomes a problem because everybody's feeding each other.
Yep. That is a huge point, and something I thought about the other day was
I
I
missed
feel like
the
a lot of
wheel when we were
people
playing
are.
Rawcell the other day. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
I
What'd you
wanted it so bad. The Wheel of Fortune in our deck.
I think it's funny how I'll listen to podcasts, I'll listen to where the meta is going, but I'll never think about the fact that I am always 1/4 of the game. So if you show up with Blue Farm or No Bad Cards Kinnan, you're influencing all the games that you play into that style of game. And if you're coming to a tournament with this list, you're going to have different games. And the only way you're really going to get into those Ristic slop games are as if 2 or more of your opponents have those styles of decks. So I think it's funny how, like, it's almost like a, what's the word I'm looking for when, confirmation bias, where everybody hears that No Bad Cards is good and the meta is like that. So they all show up with those decks and the meta is like that. Right. But if you decide, hey, I'm going to go in as a samurai, I'm not going to go in with this like warm blanket over me of multiple Ristics. I'm going to slash throats on turn 2. Right. That's how none of my games went to time in the tournament that I just went to because I was playing Turbo Cannon. I was going, you're dead or kill me, you know? And that showed up in the game where, like, yes, I lost 2 games. Okay. But they were decidedly done. They were, the game's concluded, which if you're looking for that, maybe you should play something a little more compact and less safe and elusive, right? Like even your farm list that we just looked at, it's not slot. No. You're still, you maybe like are acting a little more aloof in your gameplay, but when it's time to go, you hit the silence and you kill him, right? You're not trying to draw 10 million cards and wait like Kinnan next No Bad Cards or Rog Ishai, and then you can't get there at the end. You always have a win you're working towards and you're closing it out, right?
Yeah. Yeah, my philosophy with farm is just to be hyper mana efficient. Like because the deck wants mana so bad, but there's like no more cards. Like there's no other mana. There's nowhere to get mana from. There's nothing that's good enough that provides the mana that you need other than like how many talismans do you want to run? You know what I mean? Like do you want to run 5 talismans and an extra land? Cuz like maybe that's the answer, but I don't think that's the answer. I don't think talismans are really that good outside of like playing on turn 1 off of a soul ring. So my solution instead is to just run cards that are like lower CMC. You know, and then you don't need as much mana.
That's why people talk a lot with farm, I think, is because you don't have as much agency as people may think you do all the time. You know?
Yeah. Well, the goalpost has shifted. We used to be the one with the most autonomy. And now there's these decks that they've given up their ability to go proactive.
Yes.
Right? Because like combo pieces aren't good cards. It's why like if you fill your deck with all combo pieces, like the deck's not very good. Sometimes you're going to have wins that no other deck is capable of having, right? Based on speed. But all it takes is one idiot that just goes, hey, I got this Fierce Guardianship. You mind putting that base all back in your hand? And you look at your hand and you're like, yeah, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to do that. No problem. I'll cast this dork, pass.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what you have to do. But the problem is with that is like, when you get to the top 16 pod, every single player is going to do that to you.
Yep.
Or, hey, I got this forcible, bro. Will you slide it back in your hand? Yeah, all right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Now you're just gonna wait until you die, right?
Right. Well, yeah, or play at advantage engine and look for another opportunity. But like realistically, you are gonna wait till you die. Like that happens more often than not because if you have the ability to present a win, like what's the chances that you also have the ability to pivot to an advantage game, right? That's why you see people go demonic tutor. Oh, it resolved. All right, guys, are you cool if I resolve a necro? Is that cool? Oh, no, it's not. All right, well, how about a Ristic study? Is that okay?
Classic.
Yeah, absolutely. Why would you ever commit to the necro without the confirmation that's going to resolve? Like it's insane.
And by the way, it's not necessarily a bad move for the table for you to do that. Like, here's my thought on that. Yes, you're gaining a crazy amount of advantage by basically casting, like being clairvoyant and saying like, hey, do I go for win here or do I not? And you're literally asking the table, but you're also giving them the opportunity to tell you, please don't throw this game into a death spiral by trying to do this because you're going to suck the interaction out of my hand on turn 2 and I don't have enough mana for my second counter spell. And the next guy's just going to kill us.
Yeah.
Because you're testing the waters here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do not feed this guy's Remora because I do have 2 pieces of interaction and we'll feed him 20 cards. You will not get there.
Game tiptoes out of balance.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's one of the biggest reasons that I think Rhystic Study needs to go. I don't think that those play patterns are healthy. And honestly, we've been having a good time with them for like 20 plus years.
Yeah. So you think you want to force the get the Necro on everybody or give them something less bulletproof to shift to, like something that's not as advantageous as a Rhystic Study?
I hate Necro. I'll just put this right now, dude.
I got you in 2 hours. You're like, all right, that's it. I'm telling the truth.
I much prefer, like, I would much prefer it if everybody sat down with non-blue decks. Like, and it's not because I'm like not a fan of counterspells. I love counterspells. I hate the draw engines that are like out of balance with the game.
Yeah.
Right? Like Rhystic Study was designed for 1v1 formats.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the only card that like I heard somebody recently, I won't throw out any names, but it was somebody that we really don't want to have this opinion. I won't say any more. But they said people just need to start paying for the Rhystic Study.
And
it's like, dude, like their card isn't that good and the mana is back breaking. If I pay for this, I'm going to be so far. Like, your options are cast your spell and hold up Swan Song, but they draw 2 cards, right? Because
don't
one
cast
off of your Swan Song, one off of your card that you cast.
Yep.
Or cast 1 spell, draw nothing, and probably die with a Swan Song in your hand.
Yep.
To some guy who fed the Rhystic Study.
Yep.
It just happens so often.
You're basically forcing a prisoner's dilemma on every other player.
Yeah. Right? And they're
saying
forcing it back on you. And then next he goes,
guys.
I'm no prisoner. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. I was just saying, like, that's what you're doing. You're like, the whole game is a prisoner's dilemma, but you're basically forcing that decision on every player for every spell they cast. Is like, do I do what's best for the group and we live another day, maybe? Or do I greed out because I have to progress myself and also one other player, and that's okay because I got a little bit ahead, but that other player is getting that same deal on every person for free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not where we want to be.
No.
I definitely think that this is a format that obviously we want to cultivate it to be the most fun it possibly could be. And I understand people wanting Rhystic Study in the format because they enjoy playing with it, because they enjoy drawing a lot of cards. But you shouldn't be able to draw 20, 30, 40 cards for 3 mana. With no downside other than that.
No, I agree.
Like, it's just way too much. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that there's just, like, people are playing 0 mana stuff now. Right? Like everywhere. Like, the 0 mana spells have doubled because people have finally come to the realization that I would rather be able to do anything. I would rather be able to gut shot a random anything than not have the ability to do anything and just to sit here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the one thing I will say is, as a man who has an original foil Rhystic Study, I do also love the card in a sense because it has a lot of fond memories of crazy games and experiences that I had when playing that card. It was just before flash photography and copy enchantment and steal enchantment became popular, and it became an exponential draw engine. I think that's really what the real problem is. And unfortunately, the only way to exercise that problem is by pulling the root. You know what I mean? By getting rid of the original card that everybody's copying. And that sucks because I think a lot of people love, like the proponent, the opposition of our opinion is we're playing Commander because we want to play with all the most powerful cards. And so why are we removing, like I had a conniption when they banned Dockside and Mana Crypt and Jeweled Lotus and all those cards, because I think it was because I was still newer to the format when those got banned, and I was just seeing success consistently in tournaments, and it was with a list that used all 3 of those cards. And so I was like, what the hell? Like, okay, now I got to start from square one, and why are you taking away my toys? Like, I spent $500 cumulatively on these 3 cards, and you just took it away from me for no reason. Like, you know, for reasons that don't necessarily directly affect me, that sucks. But playing after them, I'm like, okay, it's not that bad that they were banned, because it essentially gave me a brand new format to learn, and it keeps things fresh. I almost feel like maybe banning and unbanning could be more of a rotationary thing. I don't know how you feel about that opinion. I just thought about that the other day. Like,
I think
hey, for this year,
ban list all the time.
Yeah, I think, like, what about, like, think about this, like, this year Ristic Studies ban, you know what I mean? And next year it's on, you know, and let's see how the formats change and how behaviors modify and how games progress and what the draw rate goes up and down as things come on and off that list. Like, maybe we don't get Ristic Study anymore, but we get Grizzlebrand and Primeval Titan. What the hell does that format look like? I don't know, but that excites me.
First off, those 2 cards aren't even remotely comparable, right?
To Ristic Study?
No, just like to each other.
Oh, wait.
Okay, so first off, Primeval Titan should be unbanned. I'm going to get myself in a lot of trouble for saying this, but like Sheldon, before he passed away, right? Our progenitor of the format.
RIP.
He did something very, very bad to all the people who play this format. And he made a post online that said, as long as I'm alive, Primeval Titan will never get unbanned. He said that, bro. I read that. Okay. They're keeping it on the ban list in honor of this man. And I'll tell you why they banned it. They banned that card because people were searching up Cabal Coffers and Urborg together. It's embarrassing. He was playing a different format than we were playing, dude. Those guys had no business being like moderating a competitive format. Now they were moderating a casual format. That's the thing that they kept trying to have to tell everybody. Hey, this is a casual format, you know? And it's like, and everybody else is like, we're not playing casually.
Yeah.
You're banning. Now, one of the few cards they got right was Prophet of Krufix. That card. Woo. The card is saucy.
You think it should stay banned?
Absolutely, dude. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Have you, dude?
Come
when
on.
people are using like Eternal Witnesses to like buy back stuff to recast at instant speed, you know, like all of a sudden Eternal Witness plays like Snapcaster Mage, like it's crazy.
Oh, Jesus Christ. This is okay, so you're talking about
everything that's wrong with our format right now.
You're talking about like a Gogeta version of Valley Floodcaller and wait, this is creature cards, so reverse that.
That's Smothering Tithe and Valley Floodcaller. Or no, that's High Fate Trickster and
Seedborn Muse.
Smothering Tithe at the same time.
It's Seedborn Muse and any flash creature.
Yeah, it's creatures only, so it's a little bit nerfed for it. Yeah. But essentially the cards that we are seeing play right now, it is a flash enabler plus like Smothering Tithe, right? It gives you the mana.
This card cannot be unbanned. Like, just reading it, I'm like, this would be Kinnan is the best deck. There's no competitor anymore, even close.
I was firing off natural orders for this thing.
Oh,
just like 100%. Yes, no, I don't want the 9 mana card. I'll take this.
Yeah,
it's too good.
Yeah.
But yeah, Primeval Titan could come back, and I honestly think that Grizzlebrand could come back too, but for a different reason. Like, Reanimator is just not very good right now. And that's mostly it's because like there's only one Entomb, and Entomb is far and away the best card in Reanimator. So because there's only one Entomb, like they just have to counter the Entomb, and you can't really win the game. Yep. So like giving something like Grizzlebrand back for Reanimator decks, it's like Honestly, dude, it's basically a peer into the abyss that can't be redirected. So like,
Yep.
it would probably just people would just ritual into it.
Yep.
Like it'd be
I
that
think
good.
that's totally fair and badass, and I
Me
think
too.
it's a perfectly healthy play pattern because to get that into play requires multiple spells. It requires proactivity versus just casting a card and then waiting. You know what I mean? Like you're going when you're casting a Grizzlebrand, in my opinion. Maybe you leave it on the battlefield, but people now can pick it off. And there's plenty of creature removal. Now, this is, by the way, I'm talking as somebody who's never played with it legal in any form. Like, I've never played with a Grizzlebrand legally in Commander, so that shows you where I'm at versus where you're at. But the fact that you and I agree on this tells me that I'm pretty right about it, right? Like, it's not as, it's just a healthier combo piece that probably is just fine, right?
It's
and it
gonna
even
win the game
enables
on
an
the spot.
archetype. Yeah.
It's gonna win the game on the spot. There's no doubt, right? Like, but like, what's our next best? Hoarding Broodlord
Hoarding Broodlord.
and Razaketh. Those are like the best two. Razaketh requires you to have a bunch of cards on the board, which means that the game needs to be developed. So it's not like a card that you can just jam on turn one and win with. And Hoarding Broodlord requires you to have an extra 2 mana up.
Dude, is there a farm list that would play a Grizzlebrand?
I don't see like just main deck and just jam it.
Yeah, or like a wrong side list that would play Grizzlebrand to win the game.
I think all of them could or would want to play it.
Yeah.
I would much rather see it in Rogsai, because it can achieve that level of mana much easier.
Yeah, it feels weird in farm because you have to like, yeah, it feels weird.
Well, like the cards, like compare it to Rhystic Study, they're gonna draw you about the same amount of cards. By
You're
this
just
time,
gonna do one all at once.
you know, if you jam a Grizzlebrand on turn 4 versus jamming a Rhystic on turn 2, at the end of that turn 4, like they've drawn the same amount of cards.
You're just drawing them all on turn 4, right? It's basically it's weird because you're. Let's pull up Grizzlebrand. Jesus, dude.
But
we
dude,
have
if you get
listeners,
an
I
8-drop
forgot.
into play on turn 1, man, like it should do damage.
This shows how much I know this card. Is it S?
Did you mean Grizzlebrand?
Yeah, Grizza. Oh, there it
Look
is.
right below. There's a link. Yeah, there you go. Just click
The
that.
Grizza. There he is. Okay. 8 mana, 4 black, flying lifelink, pay 7 life, draw 7 cards. So it's better than Necropotence.
Yep. It's basically
Tougher to get
Yawgmoth's
into play.
Bargain on a creature.
Tougher to counter, but tougher to get into play.
It's better than Yawgmoth's Bargain,
For sure.
right? Because Yawgmoth's Bargain is really easy to counter.
Here we go.
This is really hard to counter.
We got there. I'm 2 for 3 this. Okay, here we go.
No, you're doing
Yeah.
great, Sean.
Skip your draw step, pay 1 life, draw a card. Oh, yes, because it's tougher to counter. 6 and 8 are the same shit. You can reanimate one, you can't reanimate the other one. There's very few cards that would bring this back into directly into play, right? That you could actually play in CDH. Now that I'm thinking about it,
Right, like resolving this and resolving a enchantment reanimate spell are like the same cost, dude.
literally.
Renewal or something.
Well, there's a million enchantments that bring this sucker back. Necromancies, instant speed, animate dead, all the fun stuff. Yeah, dude. All right, hey, we're at 2 hours and 10 minutes. So let's start. Let's go to the last thing. Is this good or is this bad?
You're taunting me?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had to pick dude. You know me. I had to pick the most expensive thing I could find.
Dude, I hate that they printed this card. I think a lot of people feel the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you wanted to keep it quick on the opinion of this, I've been brewing a list, kind of like on the side with Andy, and our conclusion is the same, and that is this commander doesn't push you in any direction, and it doesn't ask anything of you. And so because of that, you can just put together the best 99 card pile that you can get your hands on.
Yep.
And right now, that is a slot variant.
Yep. And listeners, we're talking about Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., 1 white. It's got power up Wooburg, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people talking about like building this in all sorts of ways. There's people who want to like abuse Cradle with it. There's people who want to do like use the body for like sacrificing effects for certain things.
Dude, Cavern of Souls on human, this, then Abolisher. Or Voice. What the hell?
Dude, like Neo form in this list is crazy.
Yeah.
It goes nuts. You can get the Oracle, you can get the Abolisher, you can get the Squelcher, you can get mana if you want, like Tataru, like you can get Value Flood card, not Value Flood card, what's the fairy that kills everybody nowadays?
Fairy Mastermind.
Fairy Mastermind, like it does, you can get everything you want.
Lotho, if you're really behind.
Lotho, yeah, dude, like it has all the best cards in the game have like this deck can play it. So like the one thing to note though, like this versus Rograk, like it's very clear that 0 mana and 1 mana is a huge difference, and
Very
1
different.
white is like notably not that good.
Yeah.
And also your Mox Amber, not that good.
No.
But Tymna and Crom like aren't really that good recently. Like they're not the worst, but like you don't really care about playing them and drawing for them. So like just having anything that can do anything, turning on all of your commander oriented spells, anything to sack things off. My gut on this is like it's not going to be the best turbo list ever. You can easily do turbo with this.
Yep.
It'll do much better as a advantage engine list. And the reason is because Rograk is still faster. And there's a notable difference between casting Calling the Weak on turn 1 for maximum value versus this card.
I feel like I agree with you wholeheartedly. This is such a good take. Before I hopped off farm for a while and went on my tour of my carnival cruise, I don't know what the hell I'm doing right now, playing a bunch of stupid decks.
It's all right. You'll have fun.
I was on Turbo Farm, and I cut SWAT and Fierce. Well, I kept SWAT, I cut Fierce, because the games were ending so quickly, and I was just never casting Tymna. You know what I mean? I was playing Turbo Farm, and you know this too. It's like, we kind of talked about it. You were like, yeah, I really don't cast Tymna and Crom very often unless the game's pushed into the mid-range in the late game. Really, you're trying to win early with some type of effect like that, or you're playing... This enables that plan way more effectively. That turn 3-4 very consistent silence push, you know, with some type of turbo Necro Nas strategy, more than what we were trying to do, and it gives you green, which I think is not nothing, because after I went off Turbo Farm, I played Thrasios Vile Smasher I played Kevin's list. Love it so much. It gives you the ability to Necro with nothing and hit Summoner's Pact for Elvish Spirit Guide, crop rotation into Emergent Zone, and you can go from there. Manamorphose is an option, which is an insanely powerful card in a turbo list, especially when you're looking for blue post Necro Nas. You can get that blue from that card with just extra red and green mana, which is always laying around in a 5-color list. And this being a 1 mana commander means you can still play SWAT and Fierce and all those cards that care about your commander. And it's way easier to get this thing in play early and then hit that turn 3 win. And almost, I don't mind the white because I'm usually splashing enough white in my Turbo Farm list to hit that silence. You know what I mean? Like, it's very nice to have that. And so Mox Amber and land this Mox Amber means turn 2 silence is in your hand and it's active, and you progressed your mana and your commander's out. Right?
Right.
That's pretty hot.
Rotation too, big upside on this over farm.
Dude. So
I personally think a lot of people are talking about this list and just how good the Cabbage Man is going to be into it, to be able to add Cabbage Man to farm. And I agree. I think that's great. But to me, it's like you said earlier, the Elvish Spirit Guide. Dear Lord, to have another pedal effect that can be used in instant speed, like, you know, who knows if we even want the Beseiju or things like that. Like, this is going to be one of those lists that like no one's ever going to know what the best version of it is, and the best version is going to be different for different players depending on their
Yep.
skill sets and such.
Yep.
But the fact that like they printed a Savannah Lines, a 5-color Savannah Lines,
Yep.
and it invalidated. And by invalidated, I don't mean that you can't play your other commanders, that there's not reasons to play other commanders, but it did invalidate. It took a large chunk of legendary creatures that previously people would consider for whatever reason, and it just said, why not Nick Fury?
Yep.
Like the same thing that I'm sure everyone listening has experienced once, at least once, with either Timna Crom or Timna Thrasios, where they're just like, yo, check out this really cool 2-color commander. I can do all these things and look at my cool deck. And then one of their friends just goes, why don't you just play TNT? Why don't you play Timna Thrasios?
Yep.
Then you have card advantage, and an outlet. Whereas
Bro,
right now
I'm playing Thrasios Tevish, man. It's really cool. I get to make a bunch of creatures, and it's really good for creature count. It's like,
awesome.
Well, yeah, but you don't have white, and you could just play Timnathras,
Mm-hmm.
and you get to play Smothering Tithe, bro.
And if somehow your mana gets better when you go to 4 cards, like 4 colors is like 4-color decks have like a better mana base than 3-color decks, and I don't understand why. It
Maybe you
might
have access to
because
more fetches.
well, it could be more fetches, but my theory is that when you add an extra color, it gives you like more free spells, like more pitch spells. So your requirements go down. Right. And then like maybe also you're not willing to play like double colors 3-drop or double colored 3-drops and stuff.
Yeah.
But
I
I don't know.
interviewed the guy about the 5-color decks, by the way, and he, he's a 5-colored player. I'm not going to name him because I don't want to like throw shade on somebody on a podcast, but he was like, yeah, I just play all the 5-color lands, all the dual lands and all the fetches and stuff like that. And that's my mana base always on a 5-color list. And I was like, I don't think that's right. Like when you're drafting, do you, and you pick 4 colors, are you picking all the lands that, you know what I mean? Like, don't you want to focus in on 4 or 3 colors even and in a 5-color list?
Like how often do you tutor the plateau? How often do you tutor the bayou? Right? Like,
yes.
Like I'm not saying those aren't bad colors by any means, but like you're playing a 5-color deck. Do you really want what's the red Taiga in your list? Let's be real, dude.
No.
You don't want Taiga in your list. You want Volcanic Island in your list.
And
right?
Steam Vents or whatever, right? Depending on the pets you're
maybe you actually want the shock. Right? But like there's so many good like City of Brass effects now that mana is like the last thing that anybody's worried about.
Starting Town.
Dude, Starting Town with the best cards ever printed for a format.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. All right, man. Hey, we did it. We're 2 hours and 20 minutes in. We broke the record so far. You're the second episode, but we broke the record. Nice.
Well, hanging out.
Thank you so much for being on, Ian. Is there anything you want to let anybody know, or I'm putting you on the spot a little bit? Thoughts about the format? Anything you want to leave us with?
First, I guess I would just say like we need to have as a community, we need to seriously talk about Rhystic Study. I know that the purpose of this podcast is not to talk about bands and such, but we touched on it, so I figured I'd double down. Mm-hmm. It's like it is not really leading to the play patterns that I think a lot of people really enjoy. And I think that we need to like look at that just in general as a community and think like, yes, I understand wanting to play with all the best cards. That's cool. But what about the play experience and like the enjoyment of people who show up? Right? Like that's a real thing that needs to be considered. And I think we're at the point now where there's enough like indicators that like this is an issue, that it should be seriously considered a little bit more. And I guess to shout out, I'd say shout out to my little brother Kirk, who's always got the best ideas and great player. Shout out to Kyle. We're missing you, man. Hope you come back soon. I'm sure he'll probably listen to this and say something. Yeah, shout out Andy, shout out all the boys at the shop. You know how it is. There's too many of them to like. We just have so many guys that like the community in Ohio is so great. Shout
Yeah,
out Ty and all the Columbus boys. Like those guys are great. I love them. Yeah, dude. No,
awesome, man.
shout out
I
to
don't want to say
you
too much
for doing
because you're
everything
ending,
for you,
but yeah,
dude.
I totally like. I agree with you on the wrist study thing. I think a big part of my journey through Magic and getting into the format and meeting guys like you, and then doing a little bit of tournament stuff and starting this has been. I think I just enjoy when people have a good time and in game and just in the environment, and I love the community more than I love playing any individual game. And if a
Yep.
card detracts from that, then I do think it's a problem. And I don't want to ban anything, but if those specific scenarios arise, then I think it's something we do need to talk about. And I totally agree with you.
We've been playing with Ristic Study for almost 20 years now, bro. It's time. Like I tell people this all the time. Like I started playing Commander in like 2007. And like when I started playing Commander, like there was no question. People would sit down and be like, "Is Ristic studying your deck, dude? Can you take it out?"
Really? In
I swear to
2007?
God, this was before like there was like a thing where it's like Rule 0 pregame. You can talk about the. It was like it did that website didn't even exist.
Yeah.
And
It was law of the streets, dude. People showed up and they're like, get that shit out of your deck.
yeah, bro. It's like back then people were turn 1 Island Mana Crypt Show and Tell Emrakul. You know what I mean? Like they were doing that. It was sick. But Emrakul surely went away after that. But no, it's like I'm telling you, even back then, like there was no question in anybody's mind. Ristic Study was the best card in the format. It was the best thing to be doing. There was not even like back then the gap was even further. Like now you can like there's some cards that you can be like, is Smothering Tithe better than Ristic Study? And it's like, no, Smothering Tithe only is as good as it is because of Ristic Study.
Yeah.
Right. And same with Remora. Is like there's these end game states where you're like, they can pay for the Ristic Studies because they have their Smothering Tides, but they can't pay for the Remoras. So is the Remora better? And it's like only when you're playing against good decks, buddy. Like you know what I mean? Like when you play against, sloppy creature slop, we'll call it.
Yeah. Creature slop.
Anyway, it's been long enough, bro. We've played long enough with Ristic Study. It's time, dude.
Yeah, man. All right, dude. Well, let me stop sharing here. Thank you, bro. And
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll have you back on.
Yeah, always a good time, bro. I'll see you at breakfast next
I'll see you at
month.
breakfast.